Alex couldn't help but smile. He waved for her to come and sit beside him on the blanket bed. She quickly settled next to him and rested her head on the pillow. She looked radiant, her eyes shining as she glanced between the fire and Alex. "Hey, would you like to give me a back rub?" Alex asked. Anna nodded but then raised one finger to indicate something. Alex chuckled. "Me first?" He shrugged playfully. "If you want," he replied, lying down on his stomach. As Anna worked on his back, he felt her care in every motion of her hands. She gently rubbed his back, neck, shoulders, and arms. Then she leaned over and planted soft kisses, one after another, that made him feel warm and fuzzy inside. Finally, she laid down next to him and smiled at him. "That was amazing," he said, turning to kiss her softly. "Thank you." She beamed and nodded. "Now it's my turn." Anna leaned forward and began to unbutton her shirt. A lovely lace bra peeked from beneath, enhancing her figure nicely. He thought to himself how lovely she looked. "Anna, you look great," he said softly, nodding in approval. She gave him a playful glance and pointed to her bra, asking if he liked it. "Yes, Anna, it's lovely," he replied. He helped her take off the shirt and watched her settle back down. When he started to massage her back, she gestured to her bra. "What? You want this off too?" he asked. Anna nodded confidently. As she lifted her body slightly, he gently removed the bra. He continued the back rub, making sure to pay attention to every part just like she had for him. He also cherished each kiss he planted, taking a little longer as he showed her just how much he cared. Anna lifted herself off the blanket, encouraging his affection, and he felt her happiness. "Alex," she murmured, "this feels wonderful." "I feel the same way," he whispered softly, turning her to sit in his lap. She nestled against him, and he tangled his fingers in her hair, kissing her gently. "Even though it's my birthday today, can we keep sharing moments like this? I'm here for you, Anna. I've waited a long time to feel this way. I never knew anyone could make me feel like this. I want to be close to you and share ourselves with each other." "You really want me?" she asked quietly. "No, Anna. You're not just anything. You've become everything to me. I know our situation is unusual and unexpected, but I can't deny how I feel about you, and I think you feel the same." Anna nodded. "Here or in bed?" She pointed to the bed they were on, but reached for his hand instead. She picked up her phone, found an app, and showed it to him. "What's this?" Alex asked, reading the name of the app. "Your tracker?" Anna leaned closer and clicked on a notes section. "This app helps track your cycle. By looking at the data, you can learn more about your body. Know when your period is coming, when you're fertile, and when it's safe to be intimate," she explained as she scrolled through the calendar pages, emphasizing the days they had spent together, especially today and the days ahead. Everything was clear. Alex gently stroked her cheek and nodded. "I want nothing to come between us, sweet girl." Anna mirrored his gesture, touching his face, and watched as he closed her phone and placed it aside. After giving her a soft kiss, he laid her back on the blanket. He took a moment before pulling away to smile at her again. "I can't believe how lucky I am to be here with you." He joined her on the blanket, and they quickly began sharing gentle kisses, feeling the warmth of each other's touch. After a while, Alex broke the kiss, moving down to softly kiss her neck and shoulders. Anna embraced him, feeling a mix of excitement and shyness. He took his time, exploring every moment and making her feel cherished. Alex treated her with care. He brushed his lips against her skin and held her close, making her feel special. Their fingers intertwined as he continued to explore. He looked at her for a moment, silently asking if she was okay, and she nodded. He complimented her softly, saying, "You're so beautiful, Anna." And the moment was filled with warmth and connection between them. "I don't know how I came to meet you, but I will treasure you forever." "Alex," Anna whispered, opening her arms to invite him close. Alex leaned in, holding her gently, taking a moment to connect with her. He was nervous, knowing that this was new for both of them. He wanted to make it special. "Let me know if something doesn't feel right, okay?" Alex said softly, his voice full of care. He was concerned, wanting to make sure she was comfortable. "I've never done this either, and I just want it to be perfect for you." Anna nodded, holding on to him tightly. They shared a quiet moment, their eyes meeting. He moved slowly, letting their bodies adjust to each other. They were both filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Alex paused, waiting for her signal before continuing. She gave a slight nod, and he moved forward with tenderness and patience. Their connection deepened, and they moved together gently, savoring each moment. Anna's hands ran along his arms, her eyes never leaving his, feeling safe in his embrace. The bond between them was undeniable, and they both found comfort in the closeness they shared. After a while, Alex whispered, "I'm not sure I can hold on much longer, but we'll figure this out together." There was a shared smile, a moment of understanding between them. They both knew this was just the beginning of something new and special. When it was all over, Alex looked down at Anna, his heart full of gratitude. She was still holding him, her eyes closed, a peaceful expression on her face. They stayed close for a while, feeling the warmth of each other's presence. There was no need for words. The connection they had was enough. Alex lay beside Anna, both of them enjoying the peaceful moment. The soft music played in the background, and the fire glowed warmly, casting a gentle light around them. Could this feeling last forever? Alex wondered, moving closer to her. He leaned in, their faces close, and whispered, "You okay?" His heart swelled when Anna smiled and nodded, her eyes finally opening. "Hi," he said softly, brushing his lips against hers in a tender moment. "Hi," Anna replied, her hands sliding up to his shoulders. "Kiss me?" she asked, her voice light and happy. Alex smiled and leaned in for a slow, gentle kiss, savoring the closeness between them. The moment felt perfect, like they were in their own world. When they finally pulled back, he rested his forehead against hers, feeling the warmth of her presence. "I love you," he whispered, still catching his breath. "I want to be close to you like this again. A lot." Anna smiled at him, nodding in agreement. "Me too," she whispered back. As they settled down, Alex wrapped the comforter around them, and Anna snuggled up to his side, resting her head on his chest. After a quiet minute, Alex broke the silence. "That was something special," he said, still feeling the magic of the moment. "I don't know if there are even words for it." Anna reached for her phone and typed a quick note. She showed it to Alex, who read it with a grin. "My body feels like jelly, but I love it. I'm so glad we shared that moment. Do you think it will always feel like this?" Alex smiled and shook his head. "No," he replied softly. "It's going to get even better. We'll learn more about each other, and it'll be more amazing with time. Every moment will be special, even better than the last." Anna let out a small sigh of relief, leaning back into his arms. "You always know what to say," she said, smiling. "I believe we have a wonderful future ahead, and tonight isn't over yet, right?" Alex grinned as he held her close. "Definitely not over," he whispered. They spent the next while in each other's arms, sharing kisses and enjoying the warmth of their connection. It was a quiet, intimate moment, full of love and tenderness. Nothing else mattered but being there together, wrapped in each other's comfort and care. Anna gasped and let out a soft sigh as she moved slightly above Alex. He felt her hand on his head and smiled, realizing she was trying to show him something. He gently pulled away and took the phone she was holding. The message on the phone read, "Can we try that again? This time, can I be the one in control? I know there are different ways to do this, and I'd love to take the lead this time." Alex smiled and nodded. "Of course, you can take the lead," he said gently, encouraging her. Anna carefully shifted her position, moving over him with confidence. As she settled herself, they both took a moment to adjust, finding their rhythm together. Alex watched her with admiration, happy to let her explore and take charge. He felt a deep connection with her as they moved in sync, focusing on the closeness they shared. "You're doing great," Alex whispered, offering gentle encouragement. He wanted her to feel confident, to trust herself in the moment. Anna found a steady pace, her movements growing more natural as she relaxed into the experience. Alex supported her, guiding her when needed, but mostly, he let her take control as she had wanted. He could see how much this meant to her, and he appreciated the bond they were building. "You're amazing," he said quietly, feeling the energy between them. The moment felt special, not just for what they were doing, but for how they were growing closer through it. Anna continued to move with confidence, and Alex could tell she was enjoying the experience just as much as he was. The joy and connection they felt were overwhelming, and Alex knew this was something they would both cherish. As they finally slowed down, Alex wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. They stayed like that for a while, simply enjoying the warmth and comfort of being together. No words were needed. The moment spoke for itself. Anna held tightly onto his legs, feeling a rush of emotions. Alex gently pulled her down so she could lie on him, pleased to feel close to her. "Come here, sweetheart," he said softly. "Rest now." Anna put her head on his chest and laid her arms at her sides. They stayed like that for a little while until Anna shifted. Alex then moved to let her snuggle back beside him. He covered them with the blanket and began to kiss her softly. "I want to talk about what we know about intimacy," he said. "We both have some ideas, especially with how things are these days. The internet has probably influenced that." Anna nodded against him and then looked up. "What is it?" Alex asked. She pointed behind him and pretended to type on a phone. Alex smiled and reached back to grab it, remembering it was just behind his pillow. "We should keep this close by from now on," Alex joked. Anna kissed his chest again, and then turned to lie on her back to type her thoughts. She gave him the phone and cuddled back into him. "My brother watches things like it's a regular show. Sometimes I'd be doing homework or working on the computer and he'd just turn it on. Thankfully, he just watched it, but a few times I caught glimpses of what was happening and ended up watching too. Well, that's not true. I did some late-night searching when I couldn't sleep. I was curious about certain topics. I'm 22 now, and I don't really have friends to talk to about it, especially about such personal things. And all of my friends seem to be in the same boat." "Thanks for being open," Alex replied. "I really like how you type like I imagine you speak. Your words reflect your thoughts, and I'm eager to hear your voice someday. I often find myself wondering what it sounds like and what it will be like to just listen to you instead of reading." "I'm sorry," Anna said softly, shaking her head. "For what?" Alex asked, moving back to see her face better. "Oh, sweetheart, I didn't mean it like that." He turned to be closer to her while she kept her head tucked in. "Babe, look at me." He lifted her chin gently so she could look into his eyes, and he noticed tears starting to form. "Oh, Anna." "No, darling," he whispered. "I didn't mean to upset you. That's not what I wanted at all." Anna closed her eyes, letting a few tears slip down her cheeks. "Listen," Alex said gently, placing a soft kiss on her forehead. "Have you ever gone to a concert, maybe back in high school, and didn't know how it would sound but ended up really enjoying it?" Anna nodded slightly. "No, wait, that wasn't a great example." Alex thought for a moment and then had a new idea. "Look at me, please," he said, and he smiled when Anna focused on him. "I have it. Food. Have you ever waited to try something you always wanted, and you just knew it would taste amazing? And when you finally got to eat it, it turned out to be the best thing ever? That's how I feel about hearing your voice." Anna's lip trembled, and she closed her eyes as tears fell again. She hugged him tight and cried on his chest. Alex squeezed his eyes shut and shook his head slightly. This whole experience with her had been wild and full of feelings. It made sense why she was emotional given everything she had shared and how close they had become in such a short time. "Sweetheart, I didn't mean to make you cry, but I think you're not really sad, maybe just a bit overwhelmed." Anna nodded and held on to him more tightly. "Yeah, I get that. We've been through a lot together. So can I answer the other question, or do you want to keep using my shirt to dry your tears?" Alex chuckled and Anna gasped, holding him even closer. "Oh, I'm just joking. So for me, I haven't really done much with girls besides kissing, and I've never had anyone in my place even just to sleep. Thankfully, the situation never allowed anyone else to come here. You're my first, and honestly, I'm so happy it's you. I don't want to think about anyone else being here. Everywhere I look, I see a memory of us, and I love that." "About the internet, I mean, there are movies and TV shows that show a lot," Alex continued, shrugging. Anna rested her hand on his chest, chin resting on her palm, listening to him talk about this uncomfortable topic. "If I heard something interesting, and it stayed on my mind, especially when I was trying to sleep at home, I might look it up on my tablet or my spare laptop, which isn't linked to work or anything of the sort." Anna nodded and smiled. "So," Alex went on, "sometimes yes, the research sparked my interest. So I won't deny it. I have, from time to time, taken care of that myself. It's not really my favorite thing, not to mention now. I'm not sure if I will ever need to do that again. But sometimes I wanted to stay updated so I wouldn't look completely lost. I see that what we know and what we've both learned has helped us a lot already. Alex looked into Anna's eyes. I can't wait to apply everything else we've studied. One day, I believe we'll be so good at this that we could impress anyone. He glanced at the fire and smiled with satisfaction. Anna nodded and snuggled closer to him. When he looked back, she was smiling. Alex smiled back and leaned in to kiss her softly. You are just amazing, he said, pulling back slightly. He then leaned on top of her and kissed her with greater enthusiasm before slowing down to savor the moment. Anna smiled and wrapped her arms around him. I love you, Alex told her as he gave her a sweet kiss. Are you ready to sleep? Anna nodded and laughed, covering her mouth as she yawned. Me too. Let's sleep. They settled into their usual sleeping position and sighed together. Good night, my sweet girl. Good night, Anna whispered as she closed her eyes. They slept soundly for almost 3 hours until Alex woke up needing to use the bathroom. After using the restroom, he gathered their clothes and took them to the bedroom first. He decided to remain in his comfortable state. It felt different, but nice for him. He then picked up the pillows from their bed and arranged them for the rest of the night. Finally, he turned off the fireplace, grabbed their phones, and gently lifted his girlfriend, still wrapped in the comforter, to carry her to bed. She remained asleep, so he carefully adjusted their position to be comfortable for the night. After all that moving around, Alex found it hard to fall back asleep, so he began to softly run his fingers along Anna's arm. Her skin felt so smooth. He felt comforted by her warmth against him. Before long, he realized he was a mix of boredom and sleepiness. He leaned down and kissed her cheek gently, causing Anna to stir, and soon she was waking up, smiling at him. Alex, she murmured, her voice still full of sleep. Her body responded, stretching and relaxing next to him. Are you okay? He asked, enjoying this moment together. Yeah, just waking up, Anna said with a smile, shifting closer. With everything settled, they both felt relaxed and ready for another restful night together. They shared a tender moment, exploring each other with gentle kisses, enjoying the closeness and the love they could convey through their actions. Anna realized she could feel joy in their connection, while Alex was amazed at how much he enjoyed being with her and seeing her happy. As they lay together, catching their breath and feeling grateful for each other's presence, they held hands. Once Alex felt ready, he turned to face her. I want to be honest with you, my dear. I love being close to you. I learn something new each time we are together. I adore those happy sounds you make, and it feels good to connect with you. I don't want to be apart from you, even for a single night. Please say this will be our home together. Will you move in with me? Be my girl always. Anna turned to him, her finger tracing patterns on his chest. When he asked her to move in, she paused and looked into his eyes. Shock turned to pure happiness. She gasped, then wrapped her arms around him, kissing him deeply. This was everything she ever wanted. Let's get some rest and talk about what we'll do the next couple of days. I have to check in at work on Thursday and I'll be home on Friday for a bit, but I'm free on Tuesday and Wednesday, he said, looking into her eyes with a smile. I think we'll find plenty to keep us busy, he added with a playful whisper. Anna blushed, but nodded, welcoming his kiss. After a peaceful sleep, Alex headed to one bathroom while encouraging Anna to use the bedroom one. When he returned, he found her sitting on the bed, looking thoughtful. Is everything all right? He asked. Anna looked up and smiled, shaking her head to say nothing was wrong. She pointed toward the bathroom and silently asked, Shower? Alex nodded, waving her on. Anna shook her head, confusing him at first, but then she took his hand, signaling for him to follow her. A big grin spread across his face. He had not expected that. All right, Alex said after they finished up in the shower. First, showering together is always a great idea. I never knew mornings could be this enjoyable. Did you really plan that surprise for me? Wow, how long have you been thinking about it? Anna just smiled and shrugged. Of course I had to return the favor. Washing you is even more enjoyable than just being close to you when you're dry. So that will be our routine every time we shower together. If I have my way, that will be the only way we shower from now on. Anna laughed and shook her head. But tasting you and feeling you enjoy what I was doing, it was amazing. You were wonderful. I can't really express how I feel, I just want to. He sighed, then bent down to lift her up, holding her carefully while kissing her. Anna squealed and wrapped her arms around him as he held her close. After he set her down, they wrapped themselves in towels to finish brushing their teeth, fixing their hair, and taking pictures. They put on the same clothes they had tried to wear the night before, but with fresh undergarments. Alex decided to wait and see what Anna chose to wear, wanting it to be a surprise later in the day. He smiled, looking forward to it. Anna took care of breakfast, lunch, and dinner that day. Alex agreed to help with the dishes. She tried to argue by saying that he had paid for the food and didn't need to do anything else, but he took the notepad from her, interrupting her writing. He then kissed her so passionately that she seemed to forget everything else. After breakfast, they sat on the couch and playfully flirted. Anna switched between typing on her laptop and using her phone. Alex was busy researching something. Once he felt he had gathered enough information, he turned to her and pointed at the laptop, signaling for her to pay attention. She picked it up and looked at him, ready to listen. What do you want in a house and what do you not want? Does that make sense? If we were to buy a house, what would you want it to have? Some people don't like pools, while others won't consider a house without one. Some like walk-in closets or multiple stories or basements. What do you think? Anna pretended to think about it, started typing, paused, and then looked up at him. She shrugged, typed quickly, and then turned the screen to show him. I don't know. Where? When? For whom? What do I have to work with? All right, I understand, Alex said with a smile. She knew what he meant. I've been looking at different homes where we could live when we're not here. Would you like to check them out with me? I want to know what places you'd like to live in. A suburb of Chicago? Florida, where it's warm all the time? California, which can be a bit shaky during earthquakes? Or Colorado, where we could enjoy lots of snow and fun like yesterday? I remember you mentioned Wisconsin, where the cabin is by a lake and perfect for summer and winter. I really like that idea. Show me, Anna said softly, leaning in to kiss his cheek. Careful now. A few more of those and we might lose track of time again, Alex joked. Promise? Anna asked quietly, blushing as she looked at his phone. Oh, sweet girl, Alex said with a playful warning. We've already had our first time, and then some. Before he could finish, Anna leaned forward, taking control, and set his phone aside. Oh, it's on, Alex said, flipping her gently onto her back. As they shared a kiss, Anna climbed onto Alex's lap. He wrapped his arms around her, and soon they were lost in the moment together. Don't bother putting those pajamas back on, Alex said, catching his breath. But you can keep that cute set you were wearing. I missed seeing that when I took your shorts off, too. Anna nodded, trying to catch her breath. Once they settled down, Alex helped Anna put on her mint green panties and matching bra, and she helped him get dressed again. He quickly threw on his shorts, gave Anna a sweet kiss, and then headed to the bathroom. When he returned, Anna was looking at the photos of the house he wanted to show her before they got distracted. She had her notepad resting on the arm of the couch as she wrote something down. What are you working on? Alex asked as he settled into his seat. He saw Anna turn back a page and point to her note. Trying new things helps me understand more. I think I should grab some supplies next time we go out. Things can get a bit messy for us, especially for me. And maybe I should sit on a towel. I don't want to make things worse than they already are. Right, Alex replied, handing her the notepad so she could keep writing. You know, in TV shows and movies, they never talk about stuff like this. I appreciate that you feel comfortable sharing this with me. It means a lot. The fact that part of me is with you is really special. He smiled and gave her hand a light touch. But yes, we'll get whatever you need. Anna pointed to her phone and waved for him to come sit by her while she looked at houses. She wrote down her questions and made lists of what she liked and didn't like, pointing out parts of the pictures and asking for his thoughts. They worked together for a couple of hours and made great progress. Lunch was simple and quick. Alex kept his hands to himself, and Anna even let him help with the few dishes they had. They decided to put away their devices and snuggled up to watch a movie, sharing comments about it and reminiscing about other things that came to mind. After the movie, they watched episodes of their favorite show and took a short nap together. During dinner, Alex asked Anna where they might want to live in the US. Since she had the laptop, she decided to type her answers. She took bites of food between typing, thinking about her responses, and finally handed it over to him to read while he continued to eat. I might jump around a bit, but I'll figure it out as I go. Growing up here, I'm pretty used to the Midwest weather. Honestly, I think I'd still prefer to stay here in the city. It feels like our special place, and I'd love to hold on to it if we can. A cabin in Wisconsin sounds nice. It's great for summer or winter fun, but I don't see it as the best choice for a home base. It's perfect for vacation or retirement, but I think we need a place where we can have a successful job and raise a family. Coming from a big city, that idea kind of feels overwhelming. I don't really want to live in California, Florida, or Texas, I think. New York is really big, but places like Montana feel too wide open and not big enough. I think living in or near a big city would be the best for a long-term home. I've only looked this up online, but I'd also like to visit somewhere down south, maybe an old plantation or a big piece of land. I've never been there, so I can't pick a state, but from the movies I've watched, maybe one of the Carolinas or Georgia would be nice. I can imagine myself swinging under a big tree. Is that a common idea? If it is, I don't think it matters. That's the picture I have in my mind. Also, I've always wanted to go to Colorado. My friend from high school went there with her family over New Year's one year, and she told me how much fun she had on the slopes, shopping in the nearby town, and watching the snow fall for days. The place was called Breckenridge. I looked it up and it's very popular, but it's beautiful. Oh, and all of this is part of my dream. How amazing would it be to open a restaurant in one of those places? We could live there, start a restaurant, find good managers, and I'd work in the kitchen cooking and cleaning every day. Alex took his last bite as he read the last part of her message. She wasn't meaning to share so much, he thought, but it was great, because it helped him a lot. Alex was planning for the near future, and Anna was the reason behind it all. Anna washed their dishes in the sink. Alex leaned back and watched her work for a few minutes. She really enjoyed what she was doing. It was sad how much she had struggled since losing her parents. He hated knowing she had been through so much, but all of it led her to him. He couldn't change the last year of high school or the missed scholarship. He couldn't fix what her aunt and uncle did, but he could help her escape that life. He had already invited her to live with him. She had some clothes at his place, and all she needed to do was go get the rest of her things from her aunt and uncle's house. The issue with her voice was being taken care of. The doctor he contacted, Dr. Mitchell, was to meet them on Thursday afternoon. The doctor who had seen Anna before was retiring, so he had no problem giving her full records to Alex's doctor. Dr. Faxon, the retiring doctor, didn't seem to worry about privacy rules, and no one at the hospital seemed to care much for anything except making money. Alex made a note to get a thank you card and a donation for that doctor's retirement fund. He had also taken care of Anna's bill at the hospital so that everything connected to her name was settled. Alex found himself lost in thought until he felt a splash of water, which brought him back to Anna, who was giggling playfully. Surprised, he quickly got up to catch her as she seemed ready to run away. Wait! Come here," Alex said softly, pulling her into a warm hug. "Thanks for dinner," he added sincerely. "I appreciate everything you've done, not just cooking, but also tidying up the bed while I showered, giving me a lovely day to relax, and most importantly, just being my girl. My girlfriend, my sweetheart, my playful friend, and my future. I love you, Anna, so very much already. If we feel this way now, imagine how incredible our lives will be together forever." Anna smiled and slid her hands up his chest, wrapping them around his neck. "I love you too," she whispered, and drew him down for a sweet kiss. She tried to express her feelings fully, but the word "you" was silently mouthed. He longed to hear her say it out loud someday. Alex sighed contentedly and wrapped his arms around her, lifting her slightly as they continued kissing. He moved them against the pantry door, holding her closely as excitement grew. "You have such a hold on me," Alex said, moving from her lips to softly kiss her neck. "Anna, I want to show you how much I love you. Let me love you." "Yes, Alex," Anna whispered, feeling his affection grow as he held her gently. "I knew being comfortable together would be great for us," Alex joked, suddenly kneeling to lay her down on the floor. She shivered a bit against the cool surface, but Alex was quick to embrace her with warmth, keeping their connection strong. In that moment, Being close to Anna was everything to him. They continued kissing, wrapped in each other, sharing soft sounds of joy. The room was filled with their laughter and delight as they reached a beautiful moment together, holding each other tightly. "I will always want to be with you like this, my girl," Alex told her after a few quiet moments of simply being together, still feeling that special bond between them. As he felt himself relax, he pulled out and adjusted his boxers for comfort, gently moved her panties back to cover her, and then laid back to look at the ceiling they both had been enjoying since their moment of connection. Alex smiled as she reached over to hold his hand. After about 10 minutes, they both got up and went to their separate bathrooms to freshen up. Anna walked into the living room to find Alex by the sound system. "Come dance with me, babe," Alex said with a smile that matched her happy expression. Though they didn't say much, their hearts shared a lot. Holding his hand, she placed the other on his shoulder. He ran his hand along her back or up her side, depending on the song. At one point, Anna moved closer, resting her cheek on his chest, closing her eyes while her hands glided up and down his back. Every now and then, Alex would look down into her eyes and share a soft kiss. He couldn't wait for these moments to become their everyday life. He thought about their future together, about meeting her 3 friends who meant so much to her, and introducing her to his godfather, Brian, Paulie, and Eric. Imagining all of them together, maybe even Mr. Cardinale joining too, made him think about their wedding. It didn't need to be grand. It just needed the most important part, his bride. After an hour, Alex smiled at Anna and ran his hand gently up her back as he spoke. "Want to make some ice cream sundaes?" He laughed at her excited nod. "Come on, my love. Let's have some fun and enjoy some sweets." Anna dashed ahead of Alex as he switched off the music. Walking into the kitchen, he saw her holding a plate of leftover cookies. "Oh, that's right. Ooh, maybe we could warm them up. I was excited before, but now I'm really excited," she exclaimed. Anna shook her head with a smile as she placed the uncovered plate in the microwave to heat the cookies. Alex took out the ice cream and the various toppings he had picked up on a tough day back in November when he learned the truth about someone who had let him down. "Shake it off, Micheline," he whispered to himself while Anna was across the kitchen. They sat at the table and enjoyed their Sunday creations until their bowls were empty. Anna reached over, playfully wiping a bit of chocolate syrup from Alex's chin, then tasting it from her finger with a laugh. This gave Alex an idea. "Why don't you wash these quickly?" Alex suggested, pointing at the bowls. "I'm going to prepare for our next fun time," he joked, before grabbing some snacks for the living room. He placed them on the coffee table and then went to the closet to get some sheets to put on the floor. He turned on the music again and settled back against the coffee table, which was pushed next to the couch. When Anna entered the room, she smiled at him and sat down on the sheet. "What's going on?" she silently asked, pointing at the sheet and then at the snacks. "Our next fun time," he repeated. "Do you want to play?" Anna smiled and nodded. "I mean, I'm not too full, but I could definitely go for some chocolate-covered Anna or whipped cream and cherries," he said softly while shaking the whipped cream. "Lie down. Let's see what I can create." Anna nodded again and reached back to adjust her shirt. Alex smiled, pleasantly surprised by her eagerness to join in. Her joy in being with him and sharing these moments together was wonderful, and he cherished every second. Alex sprayed whipped cream lightly on her. He then carefully placed a cherry where it looked nice. Before he was done, he added sprinkles on top of the whipped cream. He then grabbed some chocolate syrup and drizzled it in a fun pattern around her. "Can I take a picture since you're all set up and no one will see it?" Anna nodded, looking shy but happy as he prepared to snap a photo. Alex smiled and showed her the picture. "I won't share this with anyone, but wow, you look amazing. The best part? It's all tasty. Let's see how you taste." Anna smiled and watched as Alex leaned in. He took a small bite of the cherry and smiled. "Alex, she murmured. He quickly enjoyed the cherry before going back for more whipped cream. After he finished, he moved to taste the chocolate syrup. Anna giggled and squirmed, making her stomach tighten. Alex playfully nibbled on her skin and held her gently. After he had another taste, he moved up her neck, sharing soft kisses as he looked deep into her eyes, then leaned down to kiss her. Anna kissed him back warmly, wrapping her arms around him as he relaxed a bit on her. Anna seemed perfectly happy as she held on to him tightly. She let out a sigh when Alex finished kissing her and moved away to lie down. Anna placed a cherry in his belly button and reached for the butterscotch syrup nearby. She made a little heart next to the cherry, wrote their initials, and then drew a big tree that extended from his boxers to his chest. With a smile, she set the syrup down to admire her creation. Alex looked up at her and shrugged. "What is it?" "Show me," he asked, handing her his phone for a picture. She knelt over him, positioned herself carefully, and took the shot to share with him. She turned the phone to show him, and he groaned, clearly impressed by her creativity. "Anna," he warned playfully, reaching out to steady her by placing his hands on her waist. When he finally looked at her face, he was caught off guard by her cheeky grin. "Oh, my girl, you know how to surprise me," he said with a smile. "Let's finish cleaning up here, and then we really should take a shower." To his amusement, she winked and slowly moved down to taste the design she had created. "Oh, Anna, you're something else," he said, running his fingers through her hair to keep it out of the way. She cleaned him up carefully before playfully biting the cherry in her mouth. With a cheeky smile, she winked at him and leaned back to see his reaction. "And," he announced with a grin, "we're off," he said as he sat up, took her hand, and then picked her up to carry her to the bedroom where they would enjoy a hot shower together. Alex set aside his boxers and nodded for Anna to join him in the shower. He caught a glimpse of her placing her things down before they were quickly together again as he adjusted the water to just the right temperature. Once he turned around, Anna found herself in his arms, and they shared a warm, affectionate moment. After a while, realizing they needed to finish their shower, Alex guided her to the wall to grab the soap and sponge he had bought on his birthday. That morning, while they were in the shower, Alex used the loofah Anna had chosen during their first trip to the store together. Alex loved to get the sponge lathered up with soap so he could gently wash her. He would rinse her off with the sprayer and then start over again, this time using just his hands. Anna laughed and enjoyed the moment. Once he was sure she was clean and refreshed, he nodded and handed her the soapy sponge. "I think I may have used too much body wash," he joked. "Now it's your turn to make sure I'm clean too. It's important to be thorough." Alex was being playful, though he sounded serious. Anna just shook her head with a smile. She walked over to the glass door and wrote "uh-huh" on the fogged-up surface. Then she squeezed the sponge and began washing him, focusing on his stomach and making sure he was clean. Afterward, Alex poured shampoo into his hands for his hair and shared some with Anna to wash hers. They bumped into each other playfully while rinsing, but they managed to stay focused. It was time to get out, so Alex reached for the buttons to turn off the shower, but Anna stopped him and placed his hand on her side. Before he could say anything, she wrapped her arms around his neck and brought his face down to hers. "I love you, Alex," she whispered, then kissed him. Alex embraced her and returned the kiss, feeling grateful for her and the situation he found himself in since he had first met her. He realized that this connection meant more to him than anything money could buy. "I love you too," Alex said as he pulled away from the kiss. "The night is young, and I want to spend more time with you." Anna smiled and playfully let her arms drop as he turned off the shower. After they dried off and brushed their teeth, they walked into the bedroom wrapped in towels. "Do you want to put on anything special?" Alex asked. Anna thought for a moment and he added, "I was thinking we could lie by the fire and talk some more. I'll do things a bit differently this time and place the pillows on the other side." "A whole new experience," Anna agreed. Once Alex had the bedding ready by the fire he had started, when they entered the living room, Anna put the pillows down in their new spot. She also had the comforter from their bed. Alex smiled to himself, feeling lucky to be with her. He turned on some music and placed his phone on the ledge near the fireplace. Anna grabbed the laptop and set it aside, ready to type her answers if Alex wanted to chat. Before Alex could remove his towel, Anna touched his hand and pointed to herself, showing that she wanted to help. Alex raised his hands to let her know she could do as she wished. Rather than just taking it off him, she gently touched his back and neck. Alex closed his eyes and enjoyed her soft touch. She then moved her hands to his chest, kissing him gently before moving down to his stomach. After she finished, she moved back up to his shoulders, down his arms, and held his hands. Anna," Alex murmured softly as he kissed her forehead. "I don't know what I did to deserve you. You treat me with so much care. I want to show you how much you mean to me. Is that how you feel?" Anna nodded and kissed his chest again. As she loosened his towel, it slipped to the floor. Anna knelt in front of Alex and placed the towel at the edge of their makeshift bed on the carpet. Alex watched her with curiosity, always impressed by her choices and the love she shared. She kissed his thigh, knee, shin, and then the top of his right foot, only to reverse her path on his left leg. She kissed him at the lowest part of his abdomen and then looked up to make eye contact with him. With a playful wink, she planted a soft kiss before sitting back on her heels, waiting for him to join her on the bed. Alex knelt in front of her and shook his head. "I might forget some of what we've done this week, but only because there are so many wonderful moments we've shared," Alex said, cupping Anna's cheek with one hand while softly holding her towel with the other. "I guess we just have to keep making great memories so we remember how lucky we are." Anna nodded and smiled as she held his elbows. "Now it's my turn." Alex leaned in and gently kissed Anna's neck. He held her hands while she sighed softly, tilting her head to give him more access. He smiled and moved his kisses to her throat and then to her lips. He held her cheek and brushed his thumb along her bottom lip. With the other hand, he carefully let go of the towel that was wrapped around her and tossed it aside. He wrapped his arm around her waist to hold her close. "I want to share everything with you, but I also just want to enjoy this moment," Alex said. "I love how well we know each other already." Anna reached back for her phone, which was on the ledge where Alex had placed his. She quickly typed something and handed him the phone. "Then let's do everything together and enjoy these moments too. We have all the time in the world. I want to remember what we've shared this week, especially in the last day." Anna touched Alex's chest as he read her message. After he finished, he set her phone back on the ledge and lifted her up to sit on his lap. He brought his lips close to hers and spoke softly with his eyes closed. "One day, when we say our vows, remember this, Christiana Maria," Alex said seriously. "When we write our vows, let's include our promises. I want to give you everything I can and love you for all my days." He gently lay her back, keeping his face close to hers. Anna reached over, maintaining eye contact. When she needed to, she looked at her phone to type again, then returned her gaze to him and leaned in to kiss him deeply. Alex sighed happily and let his hands slide down her sides. "Don't you go anywhere soon, Alexander Manning McLean. I just got you. I don't want to lose you. We have to spend at least 75 years together. Imagine all the time we'll have enjoying mornings, cozy moments by the fireplace, and fun times in different places. Do you think we can make it for 75 years? Anna nodded seriously. Really? He asked, looking at her intently. Promise? He whispered, and she nodded slowly. The revised text maintains the core emotions and narrative while simplifying the language and removing inappropriate content. Because my beautiful girl, I will do my best if you do yours. Anna nodded with a tear in her eye. Alex felt his own tears starting to form. Oh, Anna, I love you with all that I have. With that, Alex kissed her gently. They shared sweet moments, talking and laughing, mostly just holding each other close. While they enjoyed their time together in front of the fire, there were some playful moments and soft kisses. Eventually, Anna leaned down to show her affection in a tender way. Alex felt a rush of emotion and joy. After that, Alex looked for a chance to show his love in return. Anna showed how much she enjoyed it, making soft sounds of happiness, but Alex held back a little to make it last longer. Finally, after a few tries, he let her feel complete joy. She trembled and sighed for what felt like a very long time as Alex comforted her, wiping away her happy tears. He smiled, knowing they were tears of joy, and kissed each one gently. They drifted off to sleep in front of the warm fire, feeling relaxed and content. Just after midnight, Alex woke up to take them to bed. He made sure Anna's notepad was in its place on the coffee table, and then followed the same cleanup routine as before. Once they were settled in bed, Anna stirred at Alex's gentle kisses. They shared a loving moment slowly and sweetly. After they both felt very happy, Alex brought her to the bathroom for a nice bubble bath. They sat comfortably in the tub, with Alex's back against one end and Anna leaning against him. Every moment with you makes my life better, sweet girl, Alex whispered, kissing her forehead. Anna smiled and nodded, reaching back to touch his cheek. They enjoyed their time like that for a while until Alex sat up, turning her around to face him. They held each other in a warm embrace until the water cooled down. Eventually, Anna indicated that she was ready to sleep. Feeling relaxed, the two of them climbed into bed and cuddled closely, feeling comfortable with each other. Anna rested her head on his arm and her hand on his chest, while Alex wrapped his arm around her. They shared a warm glance, exchanged a sweet kiss, and soon fell asleep without saying another word. The next morning, Alex woke up to find Anna sitting up against the headboard next to him. He glanced at the clock and saw it was 8:17 a.m. His coffee sat there, waiting for him to enjoy it when he woke up. Alex smiled to himself and stretched as he sat up and yawned. He turned to look at Anna, who was smiling at something on her phone. "See something you like?" he asked, tilting his head. Anna nodded without looking away from the screen. She took another sip of her coffee and pointed at him. "Me? Oh, Anna, come on, you're making me blush." She smiled back, winked at him, and then returned her focus to her phone. Luckiest guy," Alex murmured as he got up to head to the bathroom. Anna patted the space next to her, inviting him to sit with her so they could enjoy their coffee together. Alex smiled and returned to the bed, covering them with the sheet. He reached for his phone and coffee before getting comfortable beside her. He lifted his phone and took a picture of them smiling together under the sheet. Anna then showed him her phone, wanting him to read her notes. "I want you to have access to this. Download the app on your phone and I'll give you the login and password. You can follow it each day to see how I'm feeling and keep track of my cycle. If I forget to note my feelings or if something important happens, you can remind me so I can add it. You can read my entries, but you can't change them." Alex followed her instructions and clicked on Tuesday's date to read her notes. She had marked things like unprotected activity in one section, happy and playful in another, and dizziness and tenderness in a third. He felt a bit worried when he saw the last part, especially about her feeling dizzy, but he laughed when he read her comments. "I marked dizziness and tenderness, but I think that's all part of my new life. I want to remember everything about my early days with Alex and how everything feels new and exciting. I love him. I never thought I would find someone who cares for me like this. I didn't know I could be cherished, but I feel that way about him too so much." My first 2 moments were cozy by the fire on Monday night. The next time was on our bed in the middle of the night. It was slow and full of love. I woke up and we washed each other. I loved the feeling of his skin under my fingers. It took a lot of courage, but I tried something new. I know he enjoyed it. Then he helped me get cleaned up, and it felt wonderful to be close to him. "Good morning," I said when we were in the kitchen, and we started to argue a little. He pulled my pants down, and we ended up against the fridge. It was exciting. Then later on the couch, when I playfully teased him, I climbed on top, and it felt so nice. After dinner, when I was done with the dishes, he came in, and suddenly we were on the cold floor. He left everything on this time. Every moment with him feels amazing. Later, as we relaxed in front of the fireplace that night, we kissed and enjoyed the quiet. But I wanted more, so I showed him affection. I enjoyed it a lot, and it surprised me as much as it surprised him. He returned the favor soon after. We fell asleep, feeling happy and spent. I feel so lucky to have met him at that bar and to have a chance to talk to him and fall in love. Thank you, God. After Alex finished reading, he shook his head and finished his coffee, which he had been sipping while reading. Then he took a deep breath, set his cup down, and looked at me. "I was there, so I understand," Alex said with a smile as he gently touched my cheek. "Reading that was a special gift, maybe even more than if you had just told me. I already knew most of it, but hearing your thoughts felt different, as if you were sharing it directly with someone you love. I'm really glad you felt comfortable sharing it with me so that I can keep up with you." He shook his head. "I can't even express how much that means to me, my sweet girl. I love you more every hour of every day, and I believe that love will continue to grow." I leaned my head on Alex's arm as I picked up my notepad to write. It seemed important for me to put my feelings down. He rested his head on mine and closed his eyes. When I nudged him, he lifted his head, looked at me, and smiled back at my eyes. That just shows I'm one lucky girl because being loved by you, Alex, is my dream come true. I love you too. I guess that makes it clear, babe, Alex said as he nodded and returned my notepad. We're meant to be together forever. That definitely answers any questions about our relationship. You know how some people date a long time and then realize they aren't right for each other, but others realize they are good together and are ready to commit? We just started dating and fell in love. Now we're looking forward to Friday when I need to go into the office for a short time. Then we can figure out what we want for our future together. He shrugged. I guess we're just lucky like that. Anna nodded and turned to him. She looked down, wrote something, and then turned her notepad to show him. Ready for breakfast? Pancakes and sausage sound good? Yep, that sounds amazing, Alex replied. Then he hesitated. Anna? She paused and accidentally let the sheet fall, revealing a bit more than intended. This made it clear that he didn't want to leave the bedroom just yet. We should probably get dressed. I like our Naked Wednesday, but cooking while we're not dressed might not be the best idea, he said with a smile, amused by the situation. Such a shame, Anna quickly wrote and tossed the notepad aside, knowing he had seen it already. She got up and walked into her small room to find some clothes. When she returned wearing jeans and a cute top, Alex couldn't help but admire her. She stood with her arms crossed, looking a bit disappointed. What? I'm getting dressed. Alex laughed, throwing the covers off and heading to get his own clothes. As he turned around, halfway dressed, he caught Anna looking at him. Hey, come on. If I have to act properly, you do too. They both laughed as they went back to getting ready. Alex smiled while picking out a shirt to wear with his jeans. He sat on the bed to put on his socks and then quickly made the bed before heading to the kitchen. Once they settled in the living room, enjoying some music, warmth from the fireplace, and ready with their phones and laptop for discussion, Alex turned to Anna and smiled. She was lost in thought, watching the fire. Babe? Anna turned to him. What do you want to do with your life? What are your dreams? Please tell me what you really want. Anna reached for the laptop and scrolled to find something. She showed him that she had already answered this question. She pointed to her notes about possibly living somewhere and shared her dream of owning a restaurant. Then, she scrolled a bit more to show him her additional ideas. My dreams, my wants, my desires. I want to go back to school and earn my culinary degree. I want to focus on cooking, baking, and food safety. I also want to take business courses so I can successfully run my own place. I'm not sure what foods I like yet, but I really enjoy working behind the scenes. I don't need to worry about the host, the servers, or collecting money. That's someone else's job. I want to marry you. I want to travel and see places in the world I've only read about or seen on a screen. I want to swim in clear ocean waters, and I want to share special moments on the beach. I want to ski down the slopes and then come back to our cozy cabin to relax by the fire, just like we did the first time we were together. There are many experiences I wish to have, but I'm not sure what they all are or where we should go. But I want to do them all with you. I want to see my friends, but what matters more is for them to meet you, the man who has captured my heart. I want to meet your best friend Brian and his girlfriend and your godfather Dan. I want to be part of your life, and I want you to be part of mine. I want to always be myself, but also your other half, and you, mine, forever. One day, I hope to have a family with you. I want to raise our kids with love and care so that they grow up to be amazing people. For all the hard times I and you have faced, I want to give our children so much love that they will look back on our family time and feel blessed to be our kids. They will always know how much their parents loved each other. Alex set down his laptop and took a deep breath, shaking his head. How could he understand this wonderful young woman who had come into his life so unexpectedly? She had become everything to him. He looked at Anna, who was gazing at the fireplace. He knew she was thinking about the words she'd written, just like she did before. Thank you, Alex said simply, bringing her back to him. Anna smiled and gently cupped his face. I love you, she mouthed, touching her heart with her other hand. I love you, my sweet girl, he replied, placing his hand over hers as it rested on his face. He wasn't going to cry, was he? Tears were about to fall. Why wouldn't they? Here was this woman he loved so much, sharing her dreams, many of which were focused on him. Hadn't he felt the same? Hadn't he realized that his hopes were mostly about her? As a tear rolled down his cheek, Anna turned to face him, wrapping her arms around him. It was overwhelming. Alex let go and quietly cried on her shoulder. Anna gently held his head with one hand and kept her other hand on his back, occasionally rubbing it or letting it rest on his neck. She supported him because he needed it. When Alex pulled away, he softly kissed her lips longer than a quick peck. Then he got up and headed to the bathroom. He needed to wash his face with cold water to feel better. It had been years since his parents had held him while he cried, and while he felt overwhelmed, he wasn't embarrassed. He was just thankful. Once they settled back on the couch, Alex turned off the sound system and switched on the TV to watch some episodes of Big Bang together. Anna leaned back and rested her eyes while Alex lay on the couch with his head in her lap. Lunch and dinner were nice for both of them. Between meals, they enjoyed Back to the Future. They laughed when they realized that going back 30 years meant 1991. They were sure anyone born around that time wouldn't find it as funny. Even more surprising was how the real 2015 wasn't as exciting as the version in the movie. Hoverboards and flying cars would have been amazing. Anna had made a delicious dessert for after dinner that they both enjoyed. After watching the second and third parts of the movie, they shared more tasty treats. As they lay down to sleep, they realized they hadn't spent the whole day together, so Alex climbed onto her and they shared a close moment. Not long after, Anna playfully turned the tables and they ended their day together. Before drifting off, Alex took Anna to the shower so they could wash up and relax. With a simple kiss, they fell asleep cuddled together, dreaming of their future. Alex imagined how cute their kids would be and looked forward to seeing them one day. He thought they would still go to the hospital for the birth instead of taking a wild adventure. The flying car he dreamed of didn't seem very real, especially with its colorful design inspired by the movie. The music playlist for this story surely has its own unique feel. Some of the songs include In Frunami by Steve Lacy, Pink White by Frank Ocean, Them Changes by Thundercat, Helen Back by Bakar, Mirage by Orion Sun, Close to Heaven by Color. Me Bad, Feels Like Heaven by Kenny Vaughan, Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell, Giving Him Something He Can Feel by En Vogue, Breakfast in Bed by Rihanna J, and a special mention for the best song he found for this story, We Might Even Be Falling in Love, a duet by Victoria Monet and Bryson Tiller. He could listen to that for hours. Such great love for it. Make sure to check out some of these amazing songs. They are truly beautiful. When Alex woke up, Anna was not in bed beside him. He turned his head and looked at the clock. Wow, it was 10:15 a.m. Why had she let him sleep so long? They had an appointment at 1 p.m. He usually woke up earlier. He got up, went to the bathroom, and dressed in jeans and a plain shirt. He needed to stay warm for their outing, so he took a sweater with him to leave in the living room for later. He missed her and wondered why she had let him sleep in. Anna? He called as he walked to the kitchen. Anna! He shouted again. There was no sound of her working, so he went into the room and found it empty. The coffee wasn't made, the dishes were clean, and there was nothing out for breakfast. Anna! He looked around and noticed his laptop still on the coffee table. He hurried to her small room and saw all her clothes still in the dresser. Where was her phone? When he checked his own phone, he realized that it hadn't occurred to him or her to save each other's numbers during their time together. They had been together the entire time, so why would they need to do that? And she couldn't answer without her voice anyway. What about a text? Again, that seemed unnecessary if they were always together. She wouldn't have left, right? She knew the way to the store, and Fred would have recognized her from their meetings on Friday and Monday. Maybe. Alex went to the closet and saw her light jacket from Friday, her new winter coat, and the formal ones all still hanging there with his. So she wouldn't have gone without those. Where else could she be? When he came back to the living room, he spotted her notepad lying on the floor. His mind jumped to the fact that she always made sure the book was put away properly. It was open with Jav written on the page, but smudged, as if someone had taken it from her while she was writing. Alex paused as he bent down to pick it up. He remembered taking the pad from her when they had a disagreement, and she had done the same thing before. A million thoughts raced through Alex's mind in that moment. Had someone come into his home and taken her? Just then, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. Alex glanced at the clock. 10:24 a.m. Should he pick it up? Could it be about her? How did they get his number? He usually ignored unknown calls, but what if this was important? He took a deep breath to calm himself and tried to hide the worry in his voice. Surely no one had taken her, right? Hello? A distorted voice replied. Xander McElwain, we have Christy. We know more than you think. The media isn't aware yet, but they will be soon. If you want to avoid embarrassment about your situation, you will follow our instructions. Alex's mind raced. The only people who knew about the situation were his 4 close friends. Could one of them have shared this? He also disliked reading any news about himself since it was often false. He needed to know what people were saying and how they knew anything about her. I want to talk to her. The voice sounded excited, as if Alex was maintaining more calm than the caller. We make the rules. First, we want $3 million in small bills in 2 secure suitcases. You'll have time to gather this. Why are you doing this? The voice seemed prepared for this question. You should consider if your reputation is worth that much. I'll call again. You should start working on it. A click echoed, leaving Alex in confusion. Acting almost without thinking, Alex called his secretary. He felt dazed and was going through the motions. Hey, boss, Maggie's cheerful voice greeted him. Taking another day off? Tomorrow is important. Hey, Maggie. Yes, I need another day. Please, I need you to be on your best game with security. When someone asks for me, say I'm in a meeting or that they just missed me or that I can't be reached. Just do what you do best. I'll talk to you later. You got it, boss, Maggie replied quickly. Talk soon. She ended the call before either could say more. Next, Alex called Dan, his publicist and a trusted friend. Fogarty, Dan answered. Dan, I have a problem. Well, that's what I'm here for. Listen to me. My friends got me a date for the convention this week. What are you talking about? Just hear me out. She can't talk because her throat is sore. There's something wrong with her voice from a bad infection last month. Dan, there's no way she is what they said. The guys told me all her doctor bills took most of her money last month, and she agreed. But I don't think she was what they claimed. Something feels off. Anyway, she was gone when I woke up this morning. Did she take anything with her? Not even the clothes I bought for her. No money changed hands because the guys said they took care of it all. She usually writes on a notepad that sits on the coffee table so she could answer my questions when I needed more than a nod. Did she leave a note on that notepad? No, well, sort of, but it was on the ground. Dan, she always kept it in the same spot on the table. It was like a habit for her. I think it is from a tough past. But it was on the floor like someone had knocked it off. It seems like there could have been a struggle. I got a strange call this morning. You answered a call from a number you didn't know? I had to, just in case it was her. But you said she didn't speak. Right, but I had to pick up in case it was about her. They said they have Anna and threatened to say I hired someone to pretend to be my girlfriend. But you said no money was exchanged. They say they know she is one. What did they want? $3 million in small bills and 2 secured bags. What are you going to do about it? I have to get her back. Alex. Dan, I know this all sounds bad. I met her in a strange way, but we never talked about her supposed job. She acted nothing like what I thought someone in that line of work would act. What do you mean? We met at Frog Dogs, where the guys wanted to celebrate my birthday since the convention was from Sunday to Wednesday. She was sitting alone at the bar. The guys told me to go talk to her. They said she didn't speak but used a notepad. They told me to pretend it was real, like I was genuinely interested in her. Did she ever mention any arrangement? No, I was told not to bring it up so she wouldn't feel uncomfortable. As we talked about our lives, she casually mentioned that her brother had told her just an hour earlier that they were going to the bar. She really was just a nice person in all of this. The guys encouraged me to act like I was flirting with her and see if she would join me at the convention. They suggested I offer to buy her a new outfit for it. I hardly had a chance to ask before she said yes. We hadn't even talked about the clothes, but she was eager. So what happened next? I took her shopping and then we went out for dinner. I found myself more drawn to her with every moment we spent together. When she learned that the convention was canceled, she felt terrible that I had spent money on clothes she couldn't use. She even cried. Oh, I remember how much you disliked that. I really didn't like it, but I wanted to comfort her. I told her the clothes were no big deal and that we would just have to find another event for her to wear them at so I could see her in them. What happened then? I fell for her, Dan. We really got to know each other. She opened up and we shared so much. We danced and kissed. You were intimate with her? Alex paused. Alex? Dan, I can't explain it without sounding silly. I truly fell for her. I want to make her happy. I love talking with her. It's like I'm sharing everything with her. But Alex, you gave her your... We both did. That's what I mean. I feel caught in this crazy situation, but we are the only ones being genuine here. I told her I don't believe in lying. Everything she shared with me was real. I would trust that completely. Well, you might need to. When we were shopping for clothes for the convention before it got canceled, she looked at the prices first. She wasn't interested in the money. Even when she visited my place, she treated it like something special, not lavish. She has feelings for me, too. I just know it. You realize this sounds a bit strange, especially coming from you, right? Yes, but she's not just any girl. She is someone to admire. She's not from a wealthy background, but she cooks and knows how to use proper tableware. When we went out to buy groceries, knowing we might be snowed in, she was shy about spending my money. She wasn't sure how to act during the shopping spree for clothes. Honestly, when we got to the grocery store, she looked really excited. She loves cooking and baking. She has her own dreams. So she doesn't know who you are? No, I introduced myself as Alex. I did tell her my full name, but she didn't seem to know about my work. We didn't discuss it because I wanted to be open with her and make sure she felt comfortable. When I brought her back to my place, we talked a lot. Well, I did most of the talking. She wrote some things down or typed on my old laptop to respond to my questions, but she mostly just listened. You talked? I do talk. Alex, what is happening? I'm in love with her. I will do anything to win her back. Dan, she is my future and I can't lose her. I want to marry her. So how will you handle this? I think I need to be open about everything. I'll tell the world what my friends did and... Wait, hold on, we need to be smart about this. If I explain what they are saying before they spread it, they might hurt her to get back at you since they didn't get what they wanted. What should I do then? I need you to tell me everything. Who are these friends who set this up? Was Brian part of it? How much did you pay? Who is their contact? Do you trust these guys? I trust Brian completely. The other two are like brothers to me. It's Terry I'm worried about. Call Brian. Find out what he knows. I'll dig into the rest. For now, don't reach out to the others. What should I say if they contact me again? Tell them you're still working on it. $3 million in small bills takes time. I'll update you with what I find out from Brian. Later, Dan. Thanks. I'm on it. Talk to you later. Alex hung up and sat on the couch. He noticed the notepad and realized he had forgotten about her appointment. Alex quickly emailed Dr. Mitchell to give a vague description of the situation and promised to contact him soon with more details. He had a feeling Dr. Mitchell would be seeing a lot of Anna in the near future once he found her. He hinted that he might need him to be available and promised it would be worth it. Alex then found Brian's name on his phone and pressed the button to call. Alex, what's up? Brian, I need you to be honest with me. Of course. What's going on? Can you tell me how this whole situation happened? Eric, Paulie, Terry, and I talked about your need for a girl for the convention, someone who wouldn't talk. We thought she would be perfect. Cool, right? Who came up with the idea? Terry, actually. He had a contact who knew a woman that might work, especially since she wasn't able to speak for some reason. But really, Brian? An escort? I wasn't totally in favor at first, but Terry insisted. He arranged everything. I don't really want to know the details, but how much did it cost? You said you all chipped in, right? How much did you pay for me to be with her? I actually didn't pay anything, Brian said. Terry said he had it all covered and was happy to give us credit. He mentioned something about owing a favor to someone. He said everything would pay off in the end, so he brushed off our worries about the costs and said he would take care of it. So, to your knowledge, no money changed hands for this deal? Alex, calm down. This isn't your problem. You and your friend are already all over social media and everyone seems to like her. I think they're just disappointed there's nothing scandalous about her to find. Okay, so Brian, please let me know if Terry reaches out about her, all right? And, don't let him know I'm asking about it. Are we speaking in code? Brian asked quietly and seriously. Yes, I think we are. Should I be worried? Yes, I think you should be, but don't do anything unusual. Are you okay? No, but I need to update Dan about this. Talk soon, thanks. Sure, no problem. See you later. Alex hung up and sighed. This was troubling. First, whoever took her called and said they had Anna. Wait, they didn't call her Anna. They called her Christy. The only person who would use that name would be her brother. He remembered the talk they had when they had given him the gift. Terry had said he was talking to a friend who knew a guy whose sister would be perfect for him. That's what Jav meant on her notepad. Javi knows someone who knows Terry. That's why Anna felt so uneasy around him lately. Alex fumbled with his phone until he got a grip and quickly called Dan. What's going on? Terry set it all up, but guess what? No money was given by anyone else in the deal. Brian has no clue about how much this whole arrangement would cost. Terry claimed he was covering everything and gave the other three credit for the gift. He said he owed a buddy who knew the girl who would suit me based on a comment I made last November after my issue with Mariah. I said I wished I could find someone who wasn't so chatty. I think they took that too far. Anyway, what Brian told me was strange. Terry said the whole thing would pay for itself over time. Pay for itself over time? Dan repeated slowly while writing it down. So, getting you a companion would somehow repay him? Does he think if you were happy, you'd give him credit or promote him? I have no idea, but he doesn't work with me. He started coming around about a year ago. He was sitting alone while Eric, Polly, and I were at a Hawks game. We talked and found out he was from this area, was easy to chat with, and he just kept hanging out. Uh-huh, Dan replied, being cautious as always when it came to Alex. He was already deep into background checks. Alex was certain of it. Just give me what you have on him, contacts and everything, and I'll reach out later. Alex pulled his phone away from his ear and set it on the couch, knowing that Dan had hung up. Alex sighed and leaned back on the couch. What was going on? He felt so frustrated. He needed to find out where she was. He had to bring her back. He didn't know how to start looking for her. He understood that's what Dan was for. He definitely wasn't going to check the internet for what the news was saying. He guessed that he and Anna had been seen at the skating rink. He hadn't even thought about others noticing them. He'd been so wrapped up in her that he had a good time and didn't think about being seen. His stomach grumbled. Instead of thinking about himself, he worried if Anna was being taken care of. Was she safe? Would anyone hurt her? She had written down Jav on a piece of paper. Was he the one who was keeping her? Surely no brother would really hurt his sister, right? And why would this whole situation with the escort be a way to get back at Terry? Alex groaned and stood up to head into the kitchen. Every part of his home reminded him of her. They had shared so many happy moments already. He would do anything to have back the past few hours. He would have woken up when she did and held her close so she couldn't leave. They would have shared an affectionate moment that morning and maybe again after breakfast. He wouldn't have let her go if he had known what lay ahead. He scrambled some eggs with cheese and frowned at how much they reminded him of her. "Come on," he said out loud. He heated up some sausages and toasted a bagel, then sat silently in the empty kitchen. Once he finished his meal, he washed the dishes and left them for later. Maybe, he thought, by some miracle, Anna would return soon and would be happy to help with the dishes. In the living room, Alex opened the laptop that Anna had been using. He opened her file and read through every line of information, all 36 pages of details Anna had shared with him. She had shared everything she had prepared. He sighed loudly and finally clicked on Dan's name to call him. Fogarty. What should I do when they call back? Do I need to contact my bank? Nope, just buy some time. My sources are looking into it. They'll have answers soon. Just hang in there. Okay, Alex sighed, lowering his head. Dan, Talk to me, son, Dan said gently. Alex looked up. He hadn't been called that in years. Dan had used that term when Alex was struggling after his mom passed away just after his dad. Dan had taken him into a quiet room at the funeral home and encouraged him to share his feelings. Alex had cried, thrown things that wouldn't break, and shouted until he felt empty. Then Dan placed his hand on Alex's shoulder, looked him in the eyes, and said, "You've got this, son. Go wash your face and go out there. People are waiting for you. Hold your head up high, Alex. I'm here for you, always." "I'm so scared," Alex whispered, covering his face with his hands. I just met her at a bar. Everything she does surprises me, and I love it. We even slept next to each other that first night, and by morning she was right by my side, like she was meant to be there. I never... Alex paused and forced a laugh through his emotions. I've never even heard her voice, Dan. Please help me find her. I need her to be okay. I want her found and safe so I can hold her and, more importantly, hear her voice. I've never heard her voice. He covered his face again, trying to regain control before breaking down. Stay strong, Alex. Remember what I said at the funeral home? I'm here for you. I'm working hard to figure this out. Sometimes these things take time. You just stay strong. Let me know when you get that next call. Buy some time, okay? Talk to you soon. Keep hanging on. Alex called Maggie and told her to get a certain amount of money from one of his banks, as well as 2 suitcases and a few other items for them. She followed his instructions and promised to deliver everything to Fred so he could bring it to Alex's place that evening. At 4:24 p.m., Alex's phone rang with an unknown number. Hello? A voice that sounded different. Do you have the money yet? I need to know that Christy is okay. Different voice. More demands. When can you get the money? I have to speak to her. Different voice. She won't talk. You need to trust that she's alive. That's not enough. Different voice. How about I hurt her? Suddenly, muffled sounds and faint cries were heard in the background. Alex felt a knot in his stomach, thinking he might be sick. He closed his eyes and clenched his fist. Different voice. Want to hear that? Will a loud bang and a thump convince you that she's safe with me? You could end up in trouble for this too. No, please don't hurt her, Alex urged, trying to keep his voice calm. Just send me a picture of her so I know she's okay. Different voice. We want the money by 8 p.m. tonight. I can't do that. I'm still working with my banks. They can't give out that much money without more time. Well, you need to apply some pressure. It's your money, and unless you want to find parts of that little girl all over the city, you should act fast. There was a brief silence. The banks close at 5 p.m. on Fridays. You have until then. That's your deadline. $3 million in small bills, 2 secure suitcases. Bring them to the Bean. Hide them under it in a corner. My people will be watching. The girl will be set free once the money is confirmed. Oh, and Xander? Don't involve the police. So far, you've done well. But if we even suspect they're involved, the deal is off. The girl will be in serious trouble. Let's just say it will be very difficult for her. Do you understand me? Alex shook his head. I need to see proof. Where's my picture? That's a lot of worry over someone like her. The man on the other end of the phone laughed, his altered voice sounding even more sinister. Here, I'm being generous. Here's a picture. I'm sending it now. Alex knew the call ended there, and now he had to wait for the picture. About a minute later, when Alex heard a notification on his phone, he nearly dropped it as he struggled to steady his shaking hands to see what they sent. Sure enough, there was Anna sitting in a chair, her hands and feet tied. He gazed at the image, taking in what he needed to see, and then tossed his phone onto the couch. He needed to get his anger out. Alex went to the bathroom and tried to calm down before calling Dan. This whole situation was shaking him to his core. A splash of cold water on his face, taking a moment to breathe, and then a quick break sitting on his bed helped him focus on better times and regain his composure. Hello, Dan answered. It was clearly past 5 p.m. They reached out again. They want to meet at 8 p.m. tonight. Did you delay them? Yes, pushed it to 5 p.m. tomorrow. Did you ask for proof? I told them I needed to hear her voice. They let slip more than they meant to, though. They mentioned that she doesn't talk, so it wouldn't matter if they put the phone to her mouth. This either means she won't speak to them, or they already know her condition. They realize we haven't called the police. And they sent a picture at the end of the call. I've already sent it to you. She's in some kind of basement-looking space, but the person holding her takes up most of the image. What he didn't think about was that he has a tattoo visible. It's unclear, but it could be traced. If we tidy up the picture a bit, I think we could reach out. I'm already on it, Dan replied before hanging up. You have one voicemail, his phone announced. Brian's voice came through from another number in Alex's contacts. Hey, I'm away from my desk. Call me back on this number. Alex returned Brian's call and nodded as Brian started talking. Hey, I have some information for you. What do you have? I looked into the night we met the new guy, remember? At the game? He was by himself. I found the ticket and traced it back to his seat number. It's not under the name he gave us. Do you have Dan's number? He's in touch. He already filled me in and I sent him the info. Something's off here. I'm really sorry we got you involved in this. I'm mostly worried about her. How else can we find her? And was Terry part of the setup from the start? No idea. Are you going to be okay? I'll be fine once she's found. Hey, about that other thing. You're still on track, right? The paperwork gets signed tomorrow at noon. Did you give them everything you promised? All set and ready to go at midnight. That's great to hear. What's next? I'll keep you updated. Oh, I have to go. Thanks. Anytime. Alex quickly ended the call to take Dan's incoming call. Yeah, Dan. Bree sent the info. Very useful. Made some more contacts. That tattoo image is getting around. Is the money ready? Enough to fill 2 suitcases. I'll handle the plan and keep you updated. Sorry I can't be at the meeting at noon. You have a more pressing responsibility. Thanks for managing this. So, you won't even tell me what's happening? You'll know soon. I'll talk to you later. Call me if you find out anything else, Dan. And thank you. I'm just not sure. Don't get all sentimental on me. It's not that, it's her. I couldn't stay as calm as I am without... It's my job, Alex. Just let me worry about this. You've done well. Now stick to the plan and let's finish this. Thanks. Talk to you later. Later that night, after forcing himself to eat something for dinner, Alex lay on his bed and flipped through the photos he'd taken with Anna on his phone. Without her knowing, he had taken a picture of her trying on an outfit at the store. She looked so happy. He smiled at the picture of them together at Chili's on their first night. After that, there were a few more images, but these had been taken by her using his phone. One was when he was stirring soup, another from when they napped. She was kissing his cheek in that one. A soft laugh escaped him as he looked at the next few, eating popcorn, sitting together in bed with just a blanket covering her one Sunday, munching on chocolate chip cookies on the couch Monday night, and standing in the bathroom wrapped in towels after their first shower. Alex sighed deeply. It felt heavy in his heart. He missed her so much. Police! Hands where we can see them! Get down on the ground! Now! Anna watched the chaos around her, tears in her eyes as the officers rushed into the basement where she had been held for more than a day. She had felt cold, hungry, and sore from the rough treatment by those who kept her there. Her arms hurt as she instinctively tried to escape the ropes that bound her wrists and legs. A cloth had been stuffed in her mouth. She worried it might have had something harmful on it. Anna? An officer with the name tag Fredericks called softly. Anna nodded and wiped her tears away, blinking hard. Who is Anna? Shouted the main man when he heard her name. Her name is Christy. Christy Lopez. Her brother set this up. Why are the police here? They said it was just a simple job. What is happening? It's okay now, Officer Fredericks said gently, ignoring the yelling. Please stop moving. I know you don't mean to, but it's making this harder. I will help you get free. He carefully removed the cloth from her mouth, making her cough a little. Once I get these ropes off, we'll put you on a stretcher. You might be a bit cold and sore. Did they let you go to the bathroom? Anna nodded through her tears. Well, that's good, Fredericks replied. We need to take you to a medical facility where they will take care of you and help with your throat. Can you tell me if anything feels broken? Can you walk to the stretcher, or do you need help? Anna stood up slowly, groaning as she hadn't been able to stretch her legs comfortably for a long time. She longed for warmth, soft clothes, a hot shower, safety from the awful people who had held her, and Alex. Her eyes teared up again. She needed to see him, to be held by him, and to know he was all right too. It hurt to think of how scared he must be. Anna was lifted into the back of the ambulance after being held captive. She closed her eyes and let the paramedics check her. When they asked her to move her arms or turn her head, she did as they requested. When she opened her eyes again, she made sure to thank each one by putting her hand on her heart and nodding. They responded with warm smiles and gentle touches. They drove her to the hospital. Because she was in the back and didn't know where they were taking her, she had to trust that Alex was behind her rescue. They pushed her to a quiet area where it was completely still. There were no machines beeping, no talking from hospital staff, and no music. Once in the room, a paramedic handed her a gown to wear before leaving her alone. Anna changed out of her shirt and leggings. She took off her bra but kept on her underwear. When she noticed a restroom, she walked in, closed the door, and used it. Spotting a washcloth, hand towel, and a few larger towels, she wet the washcloth and cleaned herself up. With a sigh, she put her underwear back on and secured her gown before returning to the room. A knock on the door grabbed her attention, and a nurse walked in to guide her to the bed. "My name is Sonia, and I'll be your head nurse during your stay. If you need anything, just press the button. 2 other nurses and I will take turns every 8 hours. Stephen, a man, and Tony, a woman, will be here during your time. There will only be the 3 of us for your comfort. We respect you and Mr. McLean very much, and we promise that everything here will be kept private. First, is it okay if a man is your nurse? Stephen is very kind and knows how to help. He understands that having a man around might make you feel uneasy." Anna looked around for something to write on and spotted her notepad on the ledge. Was Alex there? Would she see him soon? She pointed to the notepad. Sonia noticed and nodded. "Oh, yes, sorry about that. Let me bring it over so you can reach it easily." She placed it on the tray beside Anna. "I'm fine with Stephen being my nurse," Anna wrote slowly. "Thank you for asking. I'll let you know if I need something different." "Great," said Sonia as she checked her notes. "Now let's go through this list so I can give it to the doctor in charge of your general care. Dr. Salas has known Xander McLean for years and is taking your case seriously. She hopes you will find her help helpful. These questions might seem a bit tedious, but the more we know, the better care we can give you." Anna nodded and began to answer the questions with nods, shakes of her head, or by writing when needed. Sonia asked about almost every part of her body, from her head down to her toes, and then inquired about her inner health as well. Because Alex had told the staff about their activities, Sonia also asked Anna some personal questions, things like her period, soreness, tenderness, and discharge. Even though these questions might have made Anna feel shy, Sonia asked them in a friendly way that made Anna feel comfortable answering. Sonia was kind and not judgmental, which helped Anna feel safe. Dr. Salas knocked and came in just as Sonia finished entering information on her tablet. The doctor and nurse spoke quietly while Sonia pointed to a few things on the screen, and Dr. Salas nodded before turning to Anna. "Hello, Anna," Dr. Salas said with a smile, shaking her hand before taking a seat next to the bed. "I'm glad to meet you. I'm sorry to hear about what you've been through. We're here to help you. You will also see one of the best specialists in the country who will help you feel better soon. Do you have any questions for me?" Anna thought about asking for Alex, but decided to let the doctor handle her care first. She thought about any discomfort she might have, but knew that her arms and legs would be looked at soon. Finally, she wrote down one question. "Can I take a shower and brush my teeth? I need some things, but I would feel better if I could do that, especially if I'm going to be wrapped up." "That sounds reasonable," Dr. Salas replied with a smile. "The items you need are already in the bathroom, in a bag next to the shower. Would it be all right if I checked your injuries first?" Anna nodded. "Also, Anna, have you ever visited a gynecologist before?" Anna shook her head slowly. "Since Mr. McLean provided us with your medical history, I'd like to do a simple exam to make sure everything is all right. He mentioned your app and that you've chosen to follow the natural family planning method. Are you still comfortable with that? There are other options available." Dr. Salas paused when Anna shook her head firmly. "Okay, I just wanted to check. I respect your choice. Alex also wants it to be your decision, and he promised to support you, no matter what. You have a good man in your life, Miss Lopez. I think you know that." Anna nodded and smiled in agreement. Anna pressed the button to call Sonia, and when she arrived to assist the doctor with the exam, Dr. Salas conducted a full checkup on Anna. She asked her about any discomfort related to her experiences. Anna proudly shared that she had not felt any pain. Sonia held Anna's hand during the exam and squeezed it when Anna gave that answer. A woman would understand. After her exam, which was not as scary as it often seems in movies and TV shows, Anna's arms and legs were checked. The doctor considered them fine for a shower as long as she promised to be careful. Her skin was a little sore, but it would heal on its own. Anna nodded and touched her heart. Once she was in the shower, she sighed, feeling a bit more comfortable and relaxed. Her bag had new items, including a few pairs of underwear she recognized from her shopping trip. She smiled, hoping Alex would see them soon. A man in a doctor's coat with the name Dr. Mitchell on it was waiting for Anna when she came out of the bathroom. As she entered the room, he stood up and offered his hand. "Hello, Anna," he said warmly, sitting down so they could be at eye level when she sat on the bed. "I'm Dr. Mitchell. I've heard a lot about you, especially your laryngitis. If you agree, I will check you and see how we can help you talk again. I have your records from Dr. Faxon. I heard you waited a long time to be seen because of money issues, correct?" Anna nodded, feeling embarrassed. Dr. Mitchell noticed. "I'm really sorry you had to go through that," he said kindly. His voice was gentle and caring. Anna looked into his eyes and saw his sincerity. "I promise I will help you find your voice again, 100%. It will take some effort, and some days may feel tough, but each day will bring you closer to speaking without any struggle." Anna almost asked him something, but then hesitated. "Oh, what's on your mind? I can tell there's a question." Anna grabbed her notepad and wrote something down quickly. "If I share this, can you promise not to tell Alex? It's not to keep any secrets. I want to surprise him when I can. He can buy anything he wants, but I want to give him something special that he can't buy. Does that make sense?" "I'm interested. Please go on." "I used to sing in high school. I love singing. Alex has never heard my voice. I'm hoping that with the help I'm getting, I can speak again and then work on my singing voice too. You said I could get back to 100%. Is it really possible for me to sing again?" "I have a new goal, Miss Lopez," Dr. Mitchell said with a smile. "I want to help you make that happen. I'll talk to your therapist and we'll create a plan together. For now, focus on being able to speak without getting tired. Think of it like taking small steps. It's important for you to know that. There's no running a mile on a track without completing that first 400-meter lap. I need you to be patient. Can you do that?" Anna nodded eagerly. "Good, let's get started." Anna had a full ear, nose, and throat exam. After that, she underwent a laryngoscopy. Following an hour of tests and evaluations, Anna returned to her room where a large, warm meal was waiting. She climbed into bed and enjoyed her food. When there was a knock at the door, her heart raced. She hoped it would be Alex. Instead, it was Sonia checking in. Anna managed a polite smile, but her eyes showed her disappointment. Sonia smiled back warmly as if she understood. "All right, dear. We're going to give you an IV to help you stay hydrated, and we will also give you some medicine to reduce inflammation. I can offer you pain relief, too. Do you need any?" Anna shook her head. Sonia then told her that she would be alone for the night, but reminded her that a nurse was just a button away. Anna nodded and placed her hand over her heart, a little gesture she shared with the staff who were dedicated to her care. "Okay, I'll leave you now. I'll check on you from time to time, but focus on resting. You have a big day tomorrow when you start working with your therapist to regain your voice. Mr. McLean is eager to hear it too." Sonia winked before stepping out and leaving Anna by herself. Anna leaned back and reflected on her experiences. She thought about Alex, their first conversation, their early days together, and all that followed. As she remembered their time, her lip began to tremble. She missed him so much. Why wasn't he there? What was keeping him away? Why hadn't she asked about him after her tests? Why didn't anyone tell her what was happening? A surprising knock at the door made her quickly wipe her eyes and turn to see who it was. A man walked in and smiled knowingly at Anna. He removed his long coat and hung it on a hook. He then turned to her. "Anna Lopez?" he asked. Anna nodded slowly, surprised she had not closed her mouth since he entered. "We have a lot to discuss." Anna grabbed her notepad and quickly wrote a message before turning it toward him. "Who are you? And where's Alex?" The man smiled warmly and reached for Anna's hand. Though she felt she should be cautious, she also felt a comforting warmth from him, signaling that it was all right. "I'm Dan Fogarty." Anna's eyes widened. "Ah, my boy mentioned me to you, didn't he?" Anna nodded and found herself smiling back at him. She squeezed his hand and rested her head against the pillow to keep looking at him. "How are you doing?" Anna struggled to find the words. The feelings were overwhelming, especially being this close to someone Anna had only heard Alex talk about. She felt her lips shaking, and tears started flowing down her cheeks. "Oh, come on," he said gently, reaching for a tissue to give her. "You're okay. The answer to your second question isn't an easy one. Alex knows you're safe. He set all of this up for you when they found you. There's nowhere in the world he would rather be than right here with you. I promise, Anna. You have to trust me. He can't be here right now, but he's fine. He isn't hurt. He's busy taking care of some things and needs this time while you heal so he can be here when the moment is right. Anna felt a wave of relief wash over her. He was okay. He hadn't been harmed or taken away. Tears kept streaming down her face. Dan smiled and handed her another tissue. I'm here to tell you some things you might want to know. I hear you and Alex have talked a lot for only knowing each other for a week. There are some things I know he hasn't shared with you, and he asked me to help explain. If you need to say anything or ask questions, please do. Just stop me anytime. The police are working hard to gather everything they can to build a strong case against the people who caused all this trouble, from putting you in that bar to following you around and even the kidnapping. Do you understand what I'm saying? Anna looked confused. All right, let me explain what we know so far. I'll come here every day to update you. Is that okay? Anna smiled and nodded, squeezing his hand again. According to Dan, a lot had happened quickly, and it all connected in ways that didn't seem related at first. It all began with one comment Alex made to his friends last November, and the strange case of Anna's laryngitis the month before. Some of the story was familiar to Anna since she had experienced it, but she encouraged Dan to share it as he knew it. This way, she could understand better and clarify her part if needed. So, there had been a complicated plan to take advantage of Alex for money. Terry had been at the hockey game where he met Alex and his friends, Eric, Brian, and Paulie. They all got along well and spent some time together. Terry had heard Alex mention wanting to find a woman who couldn't speak, and later joked about it with a guy named Fish. At that moment, Anna's brother laughed and brought up Anna's laryngitis issue. Soon they were making plans late into the night. They included their aunt and uncle, thinking they would help Christy be part of things too. On Wednesday, January 20th, Terry had the guys meet to talk about giving Alex a birthday gift, a girl who couldn't speak. When they gave Alex this gift on Friday, January 22nd, he was not happy. He could see why this idea was not good. However, after losing her job because she couldn't talk and needing to pay her doctor bills, combined with the failure of 5 recent relationships, the idea of spending time with someone who had no expectations started to look appealing. To keep things a secret from both Alex and Christy, Anna's brother told her to sit at the bar and wait for him while he took care of some business. She wasn't sure what that meant, but since she didn't have a job to go to, she sat down with a soda while she waited. Alex was told that the girl at the bar was new to this kind of work, so it would be better not to mention it. They said she could hear and understand but didn't speak, and that she would communicate with her phone or with a pen and paper. In fact, it was suggested he should just flirt, invite her to the convention with him, and take her out to dinner to show he meant well. Terry reminded him that she would also need clothes since she was new to this. Alex rolled his eyes at how people talked about money around him without respect. Alex approached the girl at the bar and introduced himself. If he couldn't talk about her situation, he wouldn't mention his own either. She quickly wrote down her name and how to say it. Anna. He repeated it and nodded. Then he told her about a 4-day convention he had to attend starting Sunday. He had been through a series of tough relationships and didn't want to deal with more problems. What were the chances she would want to spend time with him? He offered her clothes and mentioned the nice meals she would enjoy. He assured her that if she ever wanted to leave, he would take her home or arrange for a ride. Anna thought about it for a moment and realized that some free clothes would help her since she was unemployed. She nodded and let him help her down from the bar stool. Anna's brother texted her on Saturday to check in, but didn't ask what she had been up to or remember her birthday. Alex was really upset about everything that happened. Now, Dan said, we need to clear something up. You wrote Jav in your notes. Alex found it on the floor. Can you tell us what happened Thursday morning? This is very important. We're thinking your brother called you, and that's how the people who took you knew where to find you. Anna nodded and pointed to the laptop on the shelf. She noticed it while Dan was talking. Dan stood up and looked at the laptop. Do you want to use this instead of the notepad? He asked. Anna nodded and motioned for him to bring it to her. Hurrying, Anna began typing up her account of what happened. Having it typed would be better for the police report Dan was putting together. My brother called at 8:40 a.m. on Thursday. He was acting very nice and asked how my date went. guessing it was great since I hadn't been home since Friday. He said he had something to give me, an important letter that arrived on Tuesday, and he wanted to drop it off. I told him I could wait until I got back home since I wasn't expecting anything, but he kept insisting. I don't like to argue with him, so I finally gave him Alex's building number and told him to text me when he arrived. I planned to meet Javi at Alex's door to have a quick chat, just a, "Hi, I'm fine, thanks for the mail, see you later" kind of thing. I got dressed quietly, hoping Alex wouldn't wake up and have to deal with my brother. I waited in the living room for Javi to text me. When I opened the door, two men in black with masks rushed in. They chased me when I tried to grab my notebook from the table to leave a note for Alex, saying Javi was involved. They took me out of the condo with something covering my face. I woke up in a cold, damp basement that smelled bad, and I couldn't move my arms or legs. "Anna, you were in the basement of the building where Alex lives," Dan said gently. Anna sighed and looked down. "One of the men who kidnapped you worked in that building, so it was easy for him to hide you without anyone knowing." Anna shook her head and continued typing. When I heard the man using a cheap voice changer to call Alex, my heart sank. I knew Alex was worried about me, but he was trying to stay strong. He kept asking to talk to me. When the man threatened my safety, I felt terrified. They had already handled me roughly a few times. It felt like they were enjoying it. One even mentioned needing to make things look more real. I got really scared when the man pulled a gun from his waistband and cocked it to show Alex how serious he was. When the other man pulled my hair to make me react, Alex nearly lost his cool. Dan smiled knowingly at Anna and nodded. "I should head out now so you can get some well-deserved rest. You've really helped us fill in some gaps we were trying to figure out." He stood up and grabbed his coat. "Anna," he asked as he put it on, "did you know about the deal? Did Alex mention it to you?" Anna shook her head slowly. "I want you to understand that while others may have seen you differently, he never thought of you that way. The moment you checked the prices of the dresses, he recognized you were someone special. And when you asked that question at Chili's on your first night? Perfect timing. If you ask me, you two are meant for each other, and even though how he approached you could have been better, what you created together is more than anyone could have imagined." Anna considered this for a while and then nodded to herself. She looked up and smiled at her new friend. "Thank you," she mouthed, placing her hand on her heart. "The pleasure is all mine," Dan replied warmly as he held his gloves. "Good night. I'll see you tomorrow." Anna turned to the tray and looked at what she had there. Her notepad was neatly in the corner where she liked to keep it. Her pen rested at an angle on top of it. She remembered why she arranged it that way. Thoughts of the betrayal from her aunt and uncle during the 4.5 years she lived with them tinged her feelings. She learned to keep her things organized so that if anything was disturbed, she would know. The laptop was still open in front of her. She saved her latest work and then closed the document before shutting down the computer. As she did this, Alex's face came to mind, bringing a smile to her. She cherished the thoughts of him. She longed to be close to him. The only other thing on the tray was her phone. She had set it down near Alex's door when she received a call just before everything changed. She hadn't seen it since that morning. When she opened it, she gasped. Alex had changed her wallpaper to a picture of the two of them. He had also added his number to her contacts. She chuckled softly as she read several texts he sent the day before and earlier that morning. "Here are some pictures I thought you'd enjoy. I miss you, my sweet girl. I love you. Hang in there. I want to be with you more than anything else. I need to do this. I must let you heal and be cared for while I take care of some things on my end. Please don't be upset that I wasn't there when you were saved. They were right. I might have gotten into trouble if I had seen the kidnappers, and I might have held you too tightly after everything you went through. Be well, my love. Take care, my heart. Part of me is always with you. I'll see you soon. AMM. As she looked at the 17 pictures Alex had sent her, she felt a mix of tears and laughter. They were lovely photos, and one day she would frame them and display them around their home. Some in the bedroom, some in the bathroom, and others in the living room. Oh, even in the kitchen. Yes, she wanted their love to be showcased everywhere. She couldn't wait to make more memories with him. After looking at the pictures once more, she set her phone back down. Anna picked up the extra pillow set aside for her and hugged it tight as she settled in. If she could just pretend the pillow was Alex, Maybe she could finally get some good sleep. As she lay there, she thought of all the nights she had spent in Alex's arms. Tears filled her eyes, and she quietly cried herself to sleep, wishing that Alex was with her. Saturday morning was busy. Sonia checked everything, made breakfast, and then Anna had a difficult speech therapy session with no results. After that, a mental health specialist came to check in on Anna and let her know it was okay to talk about her feelings if she wanted. Finally, a doctor visited her with good news about her test results. Dr. Mitchell reassured her that even though it felt like the therapy session didn't help, it was still a very positive beginning. Around 11 a.m., there was a knock at the door. When Anna opened it, her three best friends stood there and she couldn't hold back her tears. "Christy!" Sarah exclaimed as she rushed in to hug her friend. "Hey, let me in too!" Sam said, trying to squeeze past Sarah since she wouldn't let go. "Guys," Savannah warned, "you're going to hurt her. Give her some space." "I bet you are wondering, what are you all doing here?" Sarah said with a smile. "Let me answer that for you." Just as Sarah started to explain, Sam cut in. "Alex called us." "Sam!" both Sarah and Savannah exclaimed. "What? You were taking too long," Sam replied, rolling her eyes. Anna smiled at her friends and noticed how they had changed a little. They were growing up, just like she was. She felt unable to share everything that had happened, so she listened while opening her laptop to prepare for their questions. "Yes, Alex called us," Sarah said as she took off her coat and got comfortable. Savannah and Sam pulled chairs from the wall to join Christy on her bed. "He told us he is your boyfriend and that you've been through a lot. He wanted us to be here for you while he was away. Can you explain more?" Anna pointed to the laptop and started typing. "Where do I start? Why don't you tell me what Alex shared so I can fill in the details and not have to write everything myself?" "Well, we learned a few things while we were in the limo," Sam began, laughing when Anna's eyes widened. "A limo?" "Yeah, Alex sent one for us to come and see you," Sam explained, nodding. "Roger, our driver, said we could stay as long as we want and would take us back whenever we're ready." Anna said, "Wow," silently, and Savannah nodded, agreeing with her. "I think we were each told different parts so we could all talk and catch up in the limo," Sarah said. "I heard that you and Alex met and quickly started a relationship," Savannah added. "He told me how he was really taken by you and felt it was love within just a few days. I can't imagine something like that, but it made me so happy to hear how much he cares about you. He thanked me for always being there for you while you faced tough times with your aunt and uncle." She leaned forward and touched Anna's leg. "Christy, I'm so happy for you." "Yeah, he mentioned that you were supposed to attend a work event but were stuck inside because of the snow," Sarah added. "During that time, Alex said you both made the best of it by cooking and baking together, which I know you love." Sarah smiled when she saw Christy's face light up. "That's the smile I knew would come. You've always enjoyed being in the kitchen, and you fulfilled one of his wishes by spending a lovely day together, and you got to enjoy the snow, too. Christy, I'm happy for you as well. I loved hearing how he spoke about you. He really is enchanted by you. He mentioned how you both met in an unusual way, not something either of you would typically do. A bar, really." "Javi," Anna quickly wrote on the notepad. "Let me guess. On your birthday and not even to celebrate?" Savannah guessed, rolling her eyes at the knowing look Anna gave her. "Well, I got the most interesting part of the story," Sam said, smiling at her friend. "I heard that you danced with him and spent every night in the same bed. You even went shopping for that convention that never happened. Let me guess, you checked the tags to find the cheapest prices so it wouldn't cost this rich guy too much." Anna blushed and looked down at the blanket over her legs. "Christy," all three girls said in shock. "Rich guy seems a bit much, don't you think?" Anna quickly typed. "Sure, he had money for lots of clothes and food, but come on." The girls exchanged glances. "What?" Anna typed, shrugging her shoulders. "Christy?" Savannah asked with concern. Hun?" Sarah chimed in. "Babe?" Sam said next. "Honey," Savannah said as she moved to sit on the bed. "Honey, Alex is Xander McElhain. He is the founder and CEO of the big tech company called Xander McElhain, right here in Chicago. It became a billion-dollar company 2 years ago and keeps growing." "Sweetie," Sarah said, taking Anna's other hand since Savannah was still holding her left one. "Did you really not know that?" Haven't you seen magazines or news articles that mention him as one of the youngest business leaders? Not to mention most sought-after bachelor, Sam added. Actually, Sarah continued, you were on social media last week. Everyone is curious about Xander's love life, and there's a picture of you two sharing a moment at a skating rink. Suddenly, a knock on the door interrupted them, and Dan peeked his head inside. Ah, these three lovely ladies must be Savannah, Sarah, and Sam, Dan guessed as he took off his coat and hung it behind the door. What did I walk in on? Christy here is just finding out who Alex really is, Sam explained. Dan raised an eyebrow, then nodded. Well, I guess it's time to continue my little story, shall we? Ladies, I think you'll find this interesting. Would you like to take a seat? The three girls sat down, leaving the rocking chair open for him. Dan first introduced himself, then shared a shortened version of what had happened on Thursday and Friday. The girls were surprised to hear about their friend's experience, especially since Alex had only mentioned that she had gone through something difficult. It didn't surprise Dan to see them reach out to hold Anna's hand or arm in support. You'll be glad to know that everyone involved has been caught, booked, and is currently in jail, as none can afford bail. Terry was someone Alex thought was a friend. He was the closest to Alex in their group. Terry had a contact known only as Fish, who arranged many of their plans. Christy's brother, aunt, uncle, two people they hired who took Christy, and another person who called himself Risk, were all waiting for their day in court. This mess started because 8 selfish people wanted to take $3 million from Alex. Anna felt relieved that the whole thing ended without any harm coming to anyone. She had been very scared when she heard a man on the phone getting angry with Alex. When he threatened harm, she realized just how serious the situation was. So, Dan continued, yes, Alex was the owner of the company, and he was planning to sell it when he met Christy at a bar that Friday night. The big event was supposed to be the last one before the sale. Alex planned to give every employee, from top managers to maintenance workers, $1 million each after the sale on January 29th. The girls looked at each other and then at Dan, blinking in surprise. What? They all exclaimed. Yep, the man this wonderful girl fell for is very generous. He has always cared for his staff, Dan explained. Wow, Sam said softly, shaking her head in disbelief. But wait, he gave all employees $1 million? Sarah asked again. Didn't you just say Alex sold the company? Yes, Sarah, I did, Dan confirmed, nodding. If you don't mind, I'll explain more. Anna's friends nodded eagerly, while Anna was still processing the fact that her boyfriend was very wealthy. When Alex started the company, he met with Brian, his best friend and lawyer, to create a contract that each employee had to sign when they joined. Once the company made $1 billion, which happened only 2 years after it began, the contract would take effect. Alex knew every employee because he asked each of them to sign the contract personally. No one had ever mentioned that part of the contract before because people usually don't read them carefully. From now on, I'll be sure to read contracts, Savannah said quietly to her friends, nodding at Dan to keep going. Alex also knew he would eventually want to sell the company to focus on his personal life. He had been looking for a partner for a while and had many choices, especially after his business gained success. Boom! Suddenly, Alex became famous. He was already popular, but now everyone was talking about him. He was the most eligible bachelor, and everyone wanted to know him. And our girl got him, Sam said happily. Yes, she did, Dan replied with a smile, giving Anna a wink. I should tell you about Alex's past girlfriends. Are you okay with that? I know you just learned a lot. Do you want to take a break and hear this tomorrow instead? Savannah, Sarah, and Sam quietly gasped and watched Anna decide. Sam even made a pleading gesture, almost begging Anna to continue. Anna sighed and wrote on her notepad. Go ahead. Yes, Sarah exclaimed, covering her face when the others giggled, amazed by her excitement. Let me know if it gets to be too much, all right? Dan said to Anna. She nodded. You might understand a bit more about Alex and why he didn't want to share these stories. He doesn't like relationship drama, so having had 5 girlfriends in a short time explains what he might have said back in November. Anna nodded, while Sam, Sarah, and Savannah were too excited to ask about it. Alex has had a few girlfriends, but they often made mistakes. He was always honest from the start. He believed that truth was very important in every relationship, whether it was between friends, family, or in a job. Each of the 5 women he dated showed him something important. Tara was the first girlfriend who let him down. She once said that if he didn't have money, she wouldn't be interested in him. She was drunk when she said it, but after thinking about their 2 weeks together, it was clear that her focus was just on his wealth. Alex learned a lot from her about what to look for in a person. "What does real girlfriend mean?" Sam asked. "I asked him that too, Sam," Dan replied with a nod. Tara was the first girl pictured with him after he became famous. They went on more than one date. He mentioned that he kissed her once, but she liked to drink, which made him hesitant. Plus, Alex worked a lot, so he didn't have much time to date. "Chris, does it bother you that he's kissed other girls before?" Savannah asked seriously. Anna wasn't surprised that Savannah was asking this. Anna knew Savannah had never kissed anyone. She was too focused on finishing her marketing degree so she could open a small shop. Dating was not really something she thought about. Anna quickly typed her response. "No, mostly because I've kissed a few guys too, and now that he's kissed some wrong ones, kissing me, who he says is the right one, makes it really special. He won't want to kiss anyone else again. I know I've had the best kiss, so it will be just him kissing me." "Ah!" the 3 girls exclaimed, delighted by Anna's answer. "Very well put, Miss Lopez," Dan said with a smile. Anna knew that Dan cared for Alex like a son, and Alex felt the same way. Besides Brian, Dan was someone Alex respected the most. Anna was sure Dan was happy to hear how in love Alex was with her. Natalie was great, but very different from Tara when it came to money. They had a nice month together, mostly spending time getting to know each other over dinners at her house and a few trips to the movies. They always chose the early shows because the matinees are the cheapest. But when he invited her on a fancy weekend trip, her true self came out. She yelled at him for wasting money and accused him of trying to buy her affection. When he said sorry for giving her that impression, she told him things wouldn't work out because he only cared about money. He left her home feeling confused and hurt. A few months later, he was glad to hear she had joined a convent to help those in need. Think Saint Mother Teresa, literally. He felt relieved that she ended it before he got too close. "Well, at least she figured it out before things went too far with him or she started doubting her choice to be a nun," Savannah said. "Oh, she didn't get close to him," Dan explained. "She was very reserved. She told him she didn't believe in kissing until they had been on many dates. When he asked her to go away with him, it was a big risk. When she became defensive, he realized later that it wasn't about him or his money. It was about her inner struggle and what her true calling was telling her. Anyway, Michelle turned out to be quite wild," Dan continued, shaking his head. The girls were completely absorbed in his story. Anna thought it was great to sit with Alex's godfather and her 3 best friends. She wished Alex could be there too. She sighed. Michelle was unsure of what she wanted. At first, her little bit of chaos was kind of fun, but soon Alex realized she was really out of his league. She was very focused on the bedroom and tried to get him to be close to her right from their first date. He was honest, but a bit mysterious too. "What was he secretive about?" Sam asked. Dan smiled and looked at Anna, who understood what he meant. "Should we tell them?" Dan asked her as he relaxed in the chair. He was enjoying his time with these girls. "Have you shared everything?" Anna thought for a moment and decided it was time to write down the answer. She quickly noted that she wanted to explain Alex's feelings and what had happened between them. Dan nodded with a smile as he continued to relax. Sarah offered to read it aloud since listening was easier than crowding over the notepad. "Alex turned 23 on Monday." "That's so close to your birthday," Sam said excitedly. "Oh, this is going to take a while," Dan joked. Anna smiled back at him and rested her head against the bed, glancing at him. Dan playfully winked before focusing on Sarah again. What many people, including his past girlfriends, didn't know was that Alex was waiting for the right person. "That's great for him," Savannah said. "He wasn't exactly waiting until marriage, but he wanted to find the one he could truly trust. It was very important to him to share that part of himself with someone special." Alex and I shared our first kiss on Saturday afternoon after spending the night together. "Ooh!" The 3 girls playfully teased and laughed at their friend. "We were fully dressed and just cuddling, but nothing more happened." "Wow, Sounds like she felt the need to explain for her friends, Dan said. He has a big bed, so there was plenty of space. I ended up sliding beside him, and it felt really nice. One kiss led to another, and then on Sunday we spent the whole day just enjoying each other's company. At one point I took off my shirt and we explored that for a while. Then on Monday, in front of the fireplace, Alex and I shared a deep moment together. Her friends gasped and then laughed at her story. Dan enjoyed their reaction. He was glad to hear it from Anna. It was clear to him that his godson and this lovely girl were made for each other, and he loved that. Sarah finished reading. It was beautiful, full of love, and so romantic. I am really glad we shared that moment. I knew my feelings for him were serious, and I love him completely. I see a future with him. When the girls finished giggling, and Sam stopped asking for more details, Dan shook his head. Should I leave the room so you all can share more? Is that what you all say these days? No, we won't ask her for more details than she's already shared, Savannah replied, giving Anna a playful wink. Please keep telling us about Michelle. All right, let's see. Alex didn't want to get too close to her until their relationship was more serious, if he wanted anything at all with her. They only dated for 3 weeks, and he was away on business for one of those weeks. In fact, he was on a trip that she really wanted to join him on. When he came to pick her up for their last date, she never got into the car. Dan continued, imitating Michelle in a soft voice. I mean, we haven't talked about it, but you're okay with us seeing other people, right? Since you wouldn't let me go with you, I spent time with my exes, and my roommate and I hung out the other days. Is that a problem? Alex just shook his head and left without saying a word. Oh, man, Sam said, laughing with her friends who had already been giggling since Dan tried his imitation of Michelle. She really does sound wild. Lisa came into the picture shortly after Alex's time with Michelle, thanks to one of his college friends, Trent. Just to note, Alex's college friends were older, so this guy was already in his 30s by then. Anyway, he was having a small gathering and offered to introduce them. When Alex met Lisa, he was taken with her. She was pretty, sweet, and smart. They spent the whole evening talking at the party, and then he took her for a long walk around the city. He kissed her and told her he thought she was amazing and wanted to get to know her better. Anna didn't enjoy hearing this part. She closed her eyes and shook her head. Dan noticed. I can stop, Dan said, looking concerned. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. This is just what happened, but, as you know, nothing came of it. Should I skip this part? A tear slipped down Anna's cheek, but she smiled shyly as she covered her face. The 3 girls quickly jumped up and gathered around her to offer comfort. Anna waved for Dan to go on. Hesitantly, he continued. A month into their relationship, he started to notice small signs that made him hesitate. She often had strange reasons for not being available. She was older, and her way of looking at their casual situation made him uneasy. Plus, he had a busy month at work with many new hiring decisions, and he had just hit a big milestone of 1 billion. When he called her to share the exciting news, she told him she was happy and couldn't wait to tell Trent. He felt really confused, especially when she told him that Trent was her husband and asked, "Didn't Trent tell you about the agreement?" This time, all 4 girls gasped. What? Savannah asked, laughing because it seemed so crazy. Her husband? Sam covered her mouth in surprise. Agreement? Sarah shook her head in disbelief. Yep, he looked like he was in shock, Dan said, chuckling a little. It turned out that Lisa and Trent both wanted him to join them in a new type of relationship. Do you think we invited you to that gathering for fun? After we left, Trent was with the other couple who was there. Wouldn't you enjoy being with both of us? The girls smiled when Dan mimicked Lisa's voice. After that, Alex hung up and hasn't talked to either of them since. I bet he doesn't plan to either, Sam added, wiping away tears of laughter. You all right? Dan silently asked Anna, since the girls were still giggling. Anna nodded and touched her heart. It meant a lot to her that Dan was not only sharing stories, but also looking out for her. Okay, Dan said a bit louder to get their attention again. Last one, ladies. Alex was just about to lose hope on finding love when he met Mariah. Oh, Mariah was something special. Alex was so happy to meet her, and by their 4th date, he began to imagine that this could really go somewhere. Mariah was strong and looked good with him, and the press liked seeing them together. But things got strange on their 5th date. She started asking a lot of questions about his business, way more than usual. When Alex mentioned this to me, I quickly realized her connection to someone who was really interested in Alex's company. Mariah was the stepdaughter of the owner of Xander McLean's biggest rival. When Alex brought this up, Mariah accused him of taking her stepfather's ideas and eventually confessed that she was just trying to interfere with his business. She even said she didn't find him attractive at all. She had just read a bunch of articles about him, and during their dates, she brought up things she knew he liked to keep him interested. He was really turned off by the whole situation. To make it worse, Mariah had talked to some important clients of Xander McLean, who then started to question their dealings with Alex. It took a lot of work to smooth things over with those clients. In the end, Alex impressed them and even grew his business thanks to their recommendations. Sam clapped happily and shouted, "Yes, Alex!" "It sounds like that has to do with what you mentioned before about the girlfriends," Savannah said. "Alex mentioned something back in November. I'm guessing this was the girl who made him think it would be better to date someone who didn't speak." "Very good, Miss Martin," Dan praised, nodding at her. "You're quite sharp. That's exactly right." He felt frustrated because he had to reassure a few of his clients. He called his friends and asked them to meet him for a drink. Alex rarely asked for a get-together at the bar. When he called, they came right away. "Is there more to the story?" Sarah asked. "We have all day and want as much time with our friend as possible." "Yes, there's more to say, but how are you all doing with food? It's almost—" Dan glanced at his watch. 12:30 already. "Why don't you tell me what you'd like to eat and I'll order it. Anything you want. That includes you too, Anna," he added with a smile. "I'll make some calls and be back in a couple of hours. I promise. I'll tell you more when I return. How does pizza sound?" The girls all nodded with excitement and began chatting about lunch options in Chicago that they couldn't find back home. Eventually, they picked a place they found on their phones. Anna, feeling a bit left out of the conversation, indicated that she'd be happy to write down their order for Dan. They agreed and thanked him warmly for his offer. He waved and left the room. "Yay! Time for some girl talk," Sam exclaimed. "Yeah, for sure," Savannah replied. "We have so much to discuss." "I don't have anyone on my mind, but I think I'll wait until marriage," Sarah admitted. "That's what everyone says," Sam joked, rolling her eyes. "I agree, at least for me, but it's different for you, Christy. You've had a tough few years," Savannah said kindly. "What you talked about was beautiful, and I think your story is really romantic." "What did she say? We need more details," Sam insisted. "Sam," Sarah said, frowning. "What? Come on," Sam replied. "Girls," Savannah scolded lightly as she looked at Anna. "Christy will share when she's ready." Anna laughed as all three turned to her, hoping she'd tell them more. One of them even pouted a little. She sighed and took her laptop to find what she had written about her time with Alex, hoping he wouldn't mind her sharing those personal moments. "I'll read it out loud this time," Savannah suggested. "I think that will be fun." Sarah got a sneak peek at the story before everyone else. "I will get to read first this time," she said. "Go ahead," Sam replied. "I do enough reading for school. My eyes are tired from this semester's work, and we've only just begun." "We met on Friday afternoon while I was sitting at the bar with a diet soda. He came up to me, talked about a convention he had to attend, and asked if I would join him. He felt it might be a bit odd, but promised he was a good person and said he would help me find nice clothes for the event. I had nothing to lose. I didn't have a job. I felt at ease around him, and who wouldn't want free clothes? I was curious about what the experience would be like. I didn't have many opportunities like this. He took me shopping and spoke with the sales staff while I looked at dresses. They were really expensive. I kept checking the price tags, but when he noticed, he took my hands and told me to stop worrying about the costs. He would handle everything, he promised. He kindly left me with the sales staff, who were very friendly and eager to help me find outfits that looked great on me, rather than just focusing on the most expensive items. I now have 6 beautiful dresses in Alex's closet. I've never owned so many nice things, including undergarments, shoes, bags, coats, and stockings. Since we planned to be together for more than just those 4 days, he also bought me a whole bunch of everyday clothes. He even surprised me with warm socks and soft pajamas. He got me a thick winter coat and a full snowsuit too, plus 2 extra pairs of shoes and slippers. After shopping, we went to dinner. He checked his email and it turned out the convention was canceled because of a snowstorm. I was so worried. He couldn't just return all the clothes. That would be a waste. I felt really bad and started crying. He comforted me and said that we would just have to find other fun events to dress up for. I wondered why he had chosen to approach me that day at the bar. He told me he genuinely wanted to know me and spend time together, and I decided to trust my instincts. Next, he took me shopping for food and other things I needed for the week. I was able to choose whatever I wanted to prepare our meals. He was very relaxed about spending all that money. I tried not to feel bad about it. I really had no idea he had that much money, and I wouldn't have let him spend so much even if I had known. I just can't accept wasteful spending after having struggled for so long with so little. We spent the evening and all of the next day getting to know each other. It was really nice. I felt at ease around him. I typed up my answers like I'm doing now, and he read everything with interest. He shared things, too. There was this feeling between us. Maybe it was something like romantic tension? Sarah suggested. Anna nodded and pointed at Sarah, agreeing with her. Savannah continued. The chemistry kept growing stronger until finally he kissed me. He said something like, "Now that we got that out of the way, maybe the rest will come naturally." "Oh my gosh," Sam exclaimed. "That's so sweet." So, kissing became part of our time together. That night, when we went to bed, he asked me for my biggest secret. He told me he had never been with anyone before and that he knew it wasn't seen as cool, but he thought it was special. I kissed him and quietly said I felt the same way. I had never been with anyone either, and I liked how he thought. We spent time asking each other questions. "What's your favorite color?" "Oh, mine too." And so on, learning more about each other. When we talked about our dreams, he mentioned that he'd never spent an entire day relaxing in bed. He didn't want to be sick, but he had never done that before. I made sure it happened on Sunday. At the end of the day, I simply whispered, "Mission accomplished," and made a check mark in the air. It was a lovely, relaxing, and enjoyable day. "You know what I really like about this?" Savannah chimed in. "You gave him something that didn't cost a thing but meant so much to him. And I bet you thought of it on the spot. When it's meant to happen, it does. He couldn't have bought that experience, and he couldn't have known that you would meet, or that you'd be stuck inside because of the snow or anything like that. But you took the chance and created memories that were special just because of you two. I love that. I just love all of this for you." "Yeah, it's amazing how everything fell into place," Sarah admitted. "At first, I was a bit unsure, and even more so when you said you had already taken that step. Hearing how everything happened and how you two got to know each other well made it clear why you fell in love so quickly." The next day was his birthday. I couldn't just sing to him like I wanted, so instead I played the Beatles' birthday song. I jumped on the bed to wake him up. He enjoyed it. When we started kissing, he told me he had plans but decided to cancel them so we could relax in bed together. He was joking around, and I loved that. In the end, he gave me a whole day filled with my favorite activities. I wanted a fun winter day with ice skating, sledding, snowmobiling, skiing, and hot chocolate by the fire with a warm blanket. "Ah," Sarah exclaimed. "What a great idea! He really made that happen?" Anna raised her finger, signaling to wait as the story would explain it shortly. We went out for breakfast and enjoyed delicious waffles with sprinkles. Then he found out, from a comment he made, that I was a good person and didn't get involved in anything bad. "What?" Sam asked, looking puzzled. Anna pointed at Savannah to keep reading. "He said we needed to stop for something a little special." I was confused at first. We entered the back of a small jewelry store and met a nice older man named Mr. Cardinale. Apparently we were going sledding. Alex didn't have a sled, so he organized to borrow one from Mr. Cardinale's grandson. Special just meant we were using someone else's sled for a while. We went sledding down a nearby hill and then returned the sled on our way to the ice skating rink. Someone spotted us walking or sharing a quick kiss before going in, which is how that photo ended up in the news, or so I heard. After that, he took me snowmobiling for an hour on a rented trail. There weren't many other riders, so we enjoyed some time off the main path. The girls all giggled when they saw Anna blushing at her own story. She covered her cheeks and nodded for Savannah to keep going. Afterward, he took me to a small diner where we shared a meal. The staff looked bored, so Alex asked one of them to take our picture. Then he paid for the meal and gave each server a generous tip. They all seemed delighted as we left. Next, we visited the grocery store. I picked out some meals to prepare for the coming days, and Alex was happy to help. It was nice to see him enjoy my excitement about cooking. Finally, with our hands full of plastic bags, we returned to his place and took some time to relax before I started on dessert and then dinner. "What did you make him?" Sarah asked. She looked at Savannah to see if she was curious about the details. Anna had not included them, so she knew she would have to answer. She picked up her notepad and wrote down a note for them to read. "His favorite meal is spaghetti, so we had that with salad and cheese sticks, no garlic. His favorite dessert is actually chocolate chip cookies, so I made those. He really loved them, especially while I played Marilyn Monroe singing 'Happy Birthday, Mr. President' on my phone when I brought out a plate of cookies with a lit candle on top." "Did you leave out the garlic because of bad breath?" Sarah asked. Anna nodded and felt herself blush again. "Smart choice," Savannah said, giving her friend a teasing wink. When we finished enjoying dessert, I quickly went to clean up in the kitchen. He had made a cozy spot with blankets and pillows in front of the fireplace. It felt really special. He offered to give me a back rub, but I insisted he go first since it was his birthday. After he finished, he suggested sharing a special moment together. I felt completely okay with it because by then I knew I had fallen for him. He had said he felt the same way. "Please tell us all about it. What happened?" Sam begged eagerly. "Sam!" Sarah and Savannah exclaimed, both surprised yet intrigued. "Well, did she write it down?" Sam pointed at the laptop. "No, she ended it there," Savannah explained, sounding a bit disappointed. Anna shook her head and reached for the laptop. She scrolled through a few pages and handed it back to Savannah. "What's this?" Savannah asked, then read the first line. "Oh, Christy, really, do you want to share these details?" Anna nodded and placed her hand on her heart, showing her affection for her friends. "Yes!" Sarah exclaimed, then quickly covered her mouth. We all want to know." "Gotcha, girls. Yes, I will share what I can. Just hold on." A knock at the door startled them, and Sam called out for the person to come in. "Lunch has arrived," Dan announced, setting down the bags on the tray. As he shared the food, he smiled at his new friends. "So, is she sharing anything interesting?" "You walked in just as we were getting to the good part," Sam teased. "Are you going to stay?" Sarah asked. "Nah," Dan replied firmly. "You girls share differently than guys. We might ask things like, 'So, did you two have fun?' and then just talk about something else. We're not very deep like that." Savannah laughed at Dan's response and playfully waved off his excuse. "No way do all guys talk like that." "Oh, I think they do," Sam said. "Unless a girl is showing some skin or has their full attention, a guy isn't going to say much. And when they're with other guys, they just speak differently. That's why boys always say girls talk too much, and girls say boys don't talk enough." "You three are really smart friends," Dan said. "I'm going to eat and keep working on my calls. If you need me, Anna has my number saved. I think Alex joked and saved it as The Godfather." The girls decided to take a break from listening to the story to eat. It was mostly quiet. Anna turned on the TV to see what was on. The first channel showed episodes of The Big Bang Theory. She smiled and thought about Alex. At that moment, she remembered her period tracker app. He had access. If she sent him messages, would he think to check them? She opened the app and looked at the latest entry. Instead of typing her feelings now, Anna decided to wait until her friends left. She would be alone soon enough, so she thought it would be better to save that for later. She had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to enter her information. It was tough for her that Alex was away during this time. What could he be doing that was more important than being with her? Wait, that sounded selfish. He had texted her pictures. What had he said? "Be well, my love. Do well, my heart. Know that part of me is with you always. I'll see you soon." He was focusing on something important, right? In fact, he said earlier in the text, "I want to be right there with you more than anything. I have to do this. I have to let you heal while I deal with some things on my end." Anna resolved to do her best and get better for Alex. When she felt frustrated, she would take a deep breath, focus, and do it for him. Anna sighed and closed her eyes. She really missed him. She thought about how much she cared for him, his kindness, his laughter, his warmth. She started smiling at the happy memories they had shared. Guys?" Sam asked loudly. Anna opened her eyes quickly. She realized Sam was pointing at her and the other girls were watching her. "Care to share?" Sam asked, munching on a fry. Anna shook her head but kept smiling. She was thinking about Alex, Sarah guessed. I don't know how I know, but I can just tell. Anna nodded, agreeing. I hope when I fall in love it'll be something like that, Savannah said dreamily. Anna went back to watching The Big Bang Theory until they all finished eating. After a few trips to the bathroom, the girls seemed ready to hear all the exciting things. Savannah cleared her throat and woke up her laptop to read the message again. Missionary position was how we started, by the fireplace and on the floor with music playing softly. It felt amazing. After that, we talked. Well, I typed on my phone, and I shared that I had hoped he wanted to do that. I asked if we could do it again and if I could be on top next time. No way, Sam interrupted. You asked that. You were comfortable enough to talk about it? Wasn't that awkward? Anna quickly wrote down her response. Yes, a little, but not really. The more we talked, even if it was a bit uncomfortable, the better we felt sharing. I probably blushed, but what happened next showed I was right to be open. He was very open to the idea, it went well, and he liked that I let myself enjoy the moment. It felt strange, but it was better than I expected. I'd say it was a perfect experience. We fell asleep there under a blanket. When I woke up again, he had tidied up the living room and carried me, the pillows, and the blanket back to bed. He was awake, and since he was bored, he woke me up with gentle kisses, and we enjoyed another moment together. It felt slow and wonderful. I was surprised by how great it felt, and then we fell asleep again. When we woke up in the morning, he told me I could take a shower, but instead I took his hand and we showered together. Oh, wow, Sam exclaimed. Go, girl, that's so bold. Oh, I can't wait to meet someone special and reach the point where we can shower together, Savannah said. It seems so personal. Anna nodded and pointed at the laptop to encourage Savannah to keep reading. We helped each other wash up. I started by washing him, and then I felt brave enough to try something new. Way to go, Sam teased with a laugh, shaking her head. Oh, I'm so envious. Well, it seemed to go well, and he really appreciated it. After that, he washed me when he could stand on his own. The girls erupted into giggles. I know I shouldn't laugh, Sarah said, but he's not here to tease. I can just picture how surprised he must have felt. Like being weak in the knees definitely applies here, right? Anna nodded, smiling as her cheeks turned a little pink. After he washed me, he laid me down and rested my leg over his shoulder. I felt so relaxed by the time he was finished. It was really good. Different yet similar. All the feelings were more about the outside versus other experiences. You'll understand when it happens for you, and we'll have to swap stories. To be honest, I always thought you girls would share your love stories with me long before I had the chance to tell you mine. The excitement began on Tuesday after we left the bedroom. He said I could take care of cooking and baking, but he wanted to help wash the dishes. I tried to tell him he didn't need to since he had bought all the food, but he didn't want to argue, so... Oh no, Sam said, sitting up straight in her chair. Without any hesitation, we found ourselves against the fridge. I really didn't expect that, but it was thrilling. Not long after that, feeling young and adventurous, I gave him a sweet kiss on the cheek, and he teased me for being so affectionate. Then our clothes came off, and before he could react, I sat on his lap on the couch, and we began again. It was exciting. The rest of the day was pretty relaxed. We watched TV, took a nap, and then had dinner. After I finished washing the dishes, I walked over to him. He said something nice, and before I knew it, we were on the floor enjoying each other's company like it had been a while. We danced, had some ice cream sundaes, and played a little with the desserts. That led to a shower, but this time it was just a regular wash. Oh, that's disappointing, Sam said, shaking her head. Anna raised a finger to signal that there was more to share. She then pointed at Savannah, who continued reading. Alex made a cozy blanket space in front of the fireplace, and we cuddled and shared kisses. There was some light conversation, and then we got a bit playful again. Eventually, we fell asleep. He later cleaned up and carried our things back to the room. Then he carried me to bed. I woke up again when he seemed restless, and we shared a close moment once more. This time afterward, he took me to the tub, and we relaxed together, facing each other in a warm embrace, which felt wonderful. The next morning and throughout the day, we didn't really do anything too intimate. Since we took that bath around midnight, we didn't need another shower. We talked a lot about serious things and enjoyed watching a movie trilogy. When we went to bed, we suddenly realized we hadn't done anything that day. A single glance was enough. He climbed on top of me for a moment, and soon after, I joined in for another sweet experience. I was completely worn out and ready to sleep, but he pulled me to the shower so we could feel clean and cozy in bed until we woke up. That turned out to be the last time we ended up close because I faced a difficult situation the next morning. "Oh dear," Sarah said, standing up to sit next to Anna on the bed. "I'm so sorry." Anna nodded and let Sarah hug her. "Yeah, it's tough, Lopez," Sam added, and Anna laughed briefly at the mention of her last name. Sam was probably the only one who called her that, and for some reason it always made her smile. "I know he's not around," Savannah said as she sat down beside them on the bed. "Do you have any idea when you'll see him?" Anna shook her head, trying not to cry. She picked up her phone, knowing there were no inappropriate pictures on it since he hadn't sent any. She handed the phone to Savannah to look at his messages and their pictures. "What's on there? I want to see," Sam said. Savannah finished looking and then passed the phone to Sarah, who could show Sam too. Sam and Sarah were the best of friends, doing everything together, even more so than the three of them. Anna felt lucky to be part of their group. Their age difference didn't seem to matter, and they had formed a close bond since meeting in middle school years ago. "These are lovely," Savannah said softly to Anna. "What he wrote? Oh, I love that. I think he means that being there during this important time for you might be a distraction." "Yeah, definitely," Sarah agreed. "He must have had something else to do anyway, and it just happened to fit together like this. It's like you and he had a special connection right away. In just 4 days, he felt something he couldn't have found with any of those past relationships because it was just the right moment for you both. You two are meant to be, and these pictures," Sarah said as she gave the phone back to Anna, "are clear proof of that." "Those are some nice pictures," Sam added. "I really like the ones that show how happy you two are together." Anna smiled as she looked at the wallpaper on her phone. It was a picture of them by the fire one evening. "Sarah's right," Dan said from the doorway. "Sorry for listening in, but I love how she put that. So, can I see those pictures too?" Anna laughed and handed her phone to Dan to check out the messages from Alex. After a moment, Dan whistled. "Well, that certainly shows something special. I've known that guy for 23 years, and I've waited about 15 of those years to see him smile like that. Every picture shows a smile I've seen a few times over the years, but never as real as these with Anna." "Anna?" Sam asked cautiously. "Oh, Dan started to explain, but Anna waved her hand to say she would take it from there. She picked up her laptop and typed quickly. "I had been taken to the bar by my brother on my birthday and hadn't heard a single birthday wish from anyone around here. You three are the family I wish I had when I lost my parents. When that kind man came up to me while I was at the bar sipping a diet soda, I didn't want to be Christy anymore. I wanted to be someone else, someone free from my past. I didn't want to be just the girl connected to my brother, aunt, or uncle. I didn't want to be the one who lost her job because she lost her voice. I knew I had to find another job, but not today. Right then, I chose to be Anna. Honestly, I've never felt like a Christy. The moment Alex said my name, it became part of me. From now on, I want to be Anna." The three girls looked up together, taking in Anna's words. Dan had taken the laptop and was reading the message in the silence that surrounded them. Anna held her breath, waiting. "Well then," Savannah said, "Anna, you shall be?" "Exactly," Sarah added. "It's going to take some time to adjust, and we might slip up and use the other name now and then. But I'll take the first step," Sam said, pulling out her phone. "I'll change your name in my contacts now so I'll remember when I text you." The other two quickly took out their phones as well. "I can say that Anna really appreciates you girls for doing this," Dan told them, placing the laptop back down. "I know Alex will express to you in person how much he values your support during this visit and for being there for her since her parents passed away. He wants you to know how thankful he is. I'm grateful too, and I'm just the godfather." Just then, there was a knock at the door, and Tony walked in. "Hello, I'm Tony, Anna's nurse. You must be her wonderful friends." She smiled at them, then sighed. "Well, friends, Anna needs to go to her afternoon therapy session. Are you okay hanging out here, or?" "I have an idea for them," Dan said as he looked at Anna. "You go work hard, Anna, and I'll keep these three company." Anna sighed and followed Tony to her therapy. She didn't have much hope that her voice would improve from earlier. Any progress felt like a tiny victory. A voice inside her reminded her that she owed this effort to Alex. She wanted to give him this gift, something valuable, something that mattered. Well, paying for the therapy was a part of it, but Anna was determined to work hard so that he could hear her voice again. As she listened to her therapist's instructions, Anna tried her best with each exercise, breathing, relaxing, and making sounds. She jumped and gasped, covering her face when she heard a noise she hadn't made in a long time. Susan, her therapist, smiled and gently touched her arm to acknowledge her efforts. "Great job," Susan encouraged, and Anna shook her head with a hint of embarrassment. "Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Let's work on our breathing again." After several more tries, Anna felt a wave of relief to hear sounds come from her again. Until she could speak clearly, she hesitated to call it her voice. Making noise was enough for now. Then Dan, Savannah, Sarah, and Sam arrived with balloons, flowers, matching teddy bears, and a fancy cooking set that looked very expensive. They also carried 2 large pizzas, cheesy breadsticks, and a bag full of soda. They all shared a meal, laughing and joking about what the reunion between Alex and Anna might be like. "You know they'll be wrapped up in each other," Sam said, reaching for another breadstick. "Oh, Dan, this pizza is amazing. I wish we had places like this in our town." "Sarah? Savannah? What do you think?" Dan asked, taking a sip of his drink. "I wouldn't blame them if they did, although I can't relate since I haven't had someone special like that," Savannah said. "But based on all the movies and books I've seen, yeah, that's likely. I do think that when he hears her voice, it will really surprise him. We've known Anna since middle school, and her voice is so clear to us, but Alex has never heard it. I wonder." "What will she say to him first?" Sarah jumped in, nodding her head. "Exactly," Savannah agreed, pointing at Sarah. "Right? So, my new friend and the one my godson likes, have you thought about what you'll say first?" Dan asked, picking up another slice of pizza. Anna shrugged, adding it to her mental list of questions to think about when she was by herself. She figured they would keep asking her, so she hurried to write down an answer on her notepad and showed it to her friends. "I'm not sure, but I think I want to introduce myself to him. I want him to know what I would have said the first time we met at the bar." "Ah!" the 3 girls exclaimed. Dan just smiled. Anna had a different idea in mind, but she hadn't really thought it through, and who knew what she would say when she finally saw him. After dinner was finished and the table was cleaned up, Dan shared another story about Alex with the girls. He talked about Alex's business, how his last relationship influenced his choice to sell the company, and how he managed things with his employees. The girls asked questions and Dan answered them directly. Anna was sure he had been involved with everything from the start. Alex considered Dan his closest friend, and Anna was glad he had someone like that in his life. Dan offered to walk the girls to their limo, letting them say their heartfelt goodbyes first. They promised to stay in touch. Dan mentioned that if he knew his friend well, he could assure them that plans were already being made for Anna to see them again soon, though they needed to focus on school. Savannah promised to text when they got home and gave Anna one last hug before following Dan out the door. Finally, Anna was alone. She enjoyed their visit but found it tiring, especially since she couldn't talk to them freely. For the first 15 minutes of quiet, Anna rested her head back and relaxed. She said a few prayers to thank for her friends, for Dan's new role in her life, and for the man who had made the day possible. She replayed the faces of her friends, their laughter, and the bond they shared as sisters in her mind. Whenever she thought about them, she appreciated the efforts Alex had made to bring them together. Her heart felt light. Dan's stories were insightful and a bit tough to take in, but also helpful. All she had heard and discussed with her friends confirmed that she truly belonged with Alex. Somehow, the women had shown him that they weren't right for him before things went too far. Anna believed it was by design that her relationship with Alex unfolded the way it did. From their first meeting at the bar to the recent moments they had shared, she would always be grateful, no matter how unlikely it seemed. When she felt ready to get up from her rest, she opened her eyes and turned on the TV. Reruns of The Big Bang Theory were on. filling the room with laughter as she picked up her phone to check her period app. She turned to that day's calendar page and started writing about her visitors, her feelings about her first therapy appointment, and what she had for lunch. Looking back, she noticed there was only one long entry from Tuesday about her personal experiences. Friday, January 22nd. I'm writing this a bit late, but here's what happened. Today is my golden birthday. Aside from my 3 close friends, no one remembered to wish me a happy birthday. I was truly sad. Then my brother insisted I go to a bar with him. He told me to sit at the bar while he took care of some things. I didn't really want to know, so I ordered a soda, which I had to pay for because my brother isn't great at buying drinks, and watched the news, which was talking about a big storm coming. Then a man came over me and asked if the seat next to me was free. I think I smiled and pointed to invite him to sit. Oh, he was good looking. I thought he just wanted to see the weather report without sitting alone at the bar. But no, he wanted to talk to me. Me? He asked my name, and for the first time I thought about giving him a different name than the one I've had for 22 years. I ended up telling him my name was Anna. Since it's part of my name, I felt it was true. It felt more like me than my other name, and when he said it, I wanted to hear him say it again. It made me feel special. The man, his name is Alex, shared an interesting story about a work event where he needed a date but didn't have one. He asked if I would like to join him. Me? I tilted my head, wondering what it would involve, or maybe I wrote it down. It was over a week ago, and so much has happened since then. I hope you can keep up with my memories. He explained that I would need to dress nicely for 4 days, enjoy fancy meals, maybe dance with him, and be at his side. I thought about it. He even said he would buy me new clothes since I sat there in a simple top, jeans, and a jacket that didn't fit the weather. I could either take a chance and join him or stay home feeling sorry for myself about no one remembering my birthday and not having a job or direction in life. I looked into his eyes for a moment to see if he seemed like a good person. He did. I'm really glad I decided to trust my instincts. Why am I writing all this in my app? Who else can I share this with? Besides, I hope my true love, my closest soulmate, is remembering that he has access to my notes. I feel deep down that he is thinking about me, and that when we see each other again, our time together will be full of love and joy. I've learned that staying positive helps me cope with therapy, loneliness, and missing him a lot. I love you, Alex. Saturday, January 23rd. When I woke up, I realized I had moved closer to Alex during the night. I felt a little bad about being in his space, but he said it was fine and comfortable for him. Oh, it felt so good to be near him. Now, I don't sleep as well as I did when I was cuddled up next to him. Since a storm was coming, we decided to stay inside and wear comfy clothes. Alex had bought me lots of clothes for the week, including 6 pretty dresses we hadn't even worn. He got me everything I needed: pajamas, a cozy winter coat, shoes, jeans, shirts, and even slippers. I had plenty of choices. Alex made scrambled eggs with cheese for breakfast and soup for lunch. I cooked my goulash. We chatted about everything. Well, he talked while I typed. As the day went on, I felt myself falling for him, and I think he felt it too because he kissed me. It was a sweet little kiss that made everything feel possible. Thank you, Alex, for showing me that I matter. I love that you appreciate my cooking and baking. It means a lot to me that you listen to my dreams and wishes. I love that I can give you gifts that aren't about money. I miss you so much, my love. Anna wiped away a few tears and put her phone on her lap as she focused on the TV. She smiled faintly as Sheldon teased Leonard. And there was Penny, always saving the day. Anna didn't want to forget what to write down, so she moved on to include Sunday and Monday. She would always remember the last Thursday and Friday, but those could wait. She didn't have much to add about them anyway. Sunday, January 24th. This day was special. First, I want to share that Alex told me the night before that he had never been with anyone. He just believed in the meaning of being together rather than doing it for the sake of it. I felt the same way, so it was nice to hear. I woke up before Alex and made coffee and breakfast in bed. I wanted to do something special for him that no one else had ever done, and it was something I could give without worrying about the cost. Money can be wonderful when you have it, but it can also feel heavy when you don't. I wanted to do something nice for him without spending any money. The day before, Alex shared that he had never spent a whole day just relaxing in bed. So I prepared breakfast, coffee, and juice, and took it into the bedroom. We stayed in our pajamas and enjoyed the bathroom nearby and the TV for some background noise. We talked, shared kisses, and took short naps. I made sure we had all 3 meals to keep us satisfied. At the end of the day, I smiled at him and whispered, "Mission accomplished." It really was a wonderful day. I love you, Alex. Thank you for loving me too. Anna smiled as she remembered waking up the next day. Losing her voice weeks ago had been tough, but the memories she made during that time were sweet. Did Alex feel the same way? Did he enjoy the music she played for him since she couldn't sing? Maybe he liked reading her words on the screen even more than if she had spoken them. She thought about a little country song by Alison Krauss. Monday, January 25th. Happy birthday, Alex. 23 has never looked so good. I loved that I got to spend the day with you, especially since you surprised me with gifts I had wanted. It was a beautiful day, and I will always be thankful to celebrate with you. And wow, did we have fun! I woke Alex up by playing the Beatles' birthday song and bouncing on the bed. I had never done that before. His strong arms gently pulled me down, not just to stop me from bouncing, but to share some sweet kisses. He joked about canceling our plans, but I quickly suggested we get ready for whatever he had planned. First, we went out for birthday waffles filled with sprinkles. I even met Mr. Cardinale, who was such a nice man. Then we went sledding, ice skating, and snowmobiling before heading to a diner where we shared a plate of food. Alex generously tipped the servers, making me fall in love with him all over again. I even noticed 3 women look at me with admiration. Me? As if that wasn't enough excitement, Alex took me shopping for more food to prepare delicious dishes. We carried our bags back to his place, putting everything away and enjoying some relaxing time before I baked cookies for dessert and made spaghetti for his birthday meal. We talked more about ourselves, and I surprised him with cookies and a candle while Marilyn Monroe sang "Happy Birthday" for us. We spent time on a cozy setup of blankets in front of the fireplace. Oh, it felt so romantic. He offered me a back rub, but it was his birthday. I did it for him first. He returned the favor, and then he asked me a question. We shared something special, and I could never have imagined a better moment, place, or person to experience that with. Alex and I felt connected that night, and a part of him will always be with me, just as I hold a part of him. Our hearts came together then. Even though I can't feel his presence right now, I know he is with me. I love you, Alex. Please come back soon. Anna had one more thing to finish before she closed the app, but she needed a break. She leaned back and listened to Raj and Howard joking around. A smile appeared on her face as she remembered the same scene playing while she and Alex were resting together on the couch. She had felt so safe and cozy in his arms. Anna sighed, wishing for the day she could feel that warmth again to come quickly. What are Sam, Sarah, and Savannah doing in this story? You might have noticed that their ages, college, don't match the COTS series. That's because this story takes place 1.5 years before KOTS starts. Interesting, right? I hope readers who already love Savannah and her friends enjoy this surprise. I certainly had fun writing it. Alison Krauss's song, "When You Say Nothing at All," fits perfectly with this story. It captures the essence of what Alex and Anna share. Anna thinks about how their connection has developed differently compared to normal conversations. Since her voice is limited, much of their communication has been through text and writing, making it feel even more meaningful. It was enjoyable creating those moments. It makes me wonder if I would think to do that in my own life. When her app was opened one last time, Anna went back to entries from Friday, January 22nd. She added any symptoms, events, and feelings she could recall, including an important moment that happened on Monday, January 25th. She continued this for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Saturday, January 30th. Once she was done, she closed her phone, plugged it into charge, turned off the TV and the room lights, then went to sleep, hugging her pillow as if it were Alex. A single tear rolled down her cheek as she reflected on how grateful she was for everything she had experienced in just 1 week. "Good morning," Stephen said cheerfully as he entered around 8:30 a.m. after knocking first, of course. Anna couldn't reply with her voice, but she trusted her nurses to understand if she had been busy or otherwise occupied. To keep things private, she did most of her personal activities in the bathroom with the door closed. Anna had already taken a shower and put on regular clothes, as she felt the gowns were no longer needed. She even watched Sunday Mass on TV. Stephen set her food on the tray and asked her a question. "Would you like to eat in bed, or should I lower the tray so you can sit in a normal chair today?" Anna smiled and chose the bed as she climbed in. It was nice for her to sit up or lie back with just the push of some buttons, so she wanted to enjoy it for as long as she could. She quickly grabbed her notepad and wrote a note to him. "Good morning, Stephen. Please call me Anna. You can call him Mr. McLean if you want, but Alex is paying for all of this. I'm just the patient." "Ha! You are not just a patient," Stephen replied with a smile. "How are you feeling today?" Since Anna had already taken a bite of her food, she just nodded. "Are you ready to try speaking a little more today? Susan says she's ready when you finish breakfast. You can walk there yourself or I can take you." Anna shook her head and waved her arms. She pointed to herself and nodded. Stephen smiled back. "You are so determined, I can see why Mr. M cares about you." Anna wrote something on her notepad and showed it to him. "Do you know him?" "Yes. The 3 nurses and Dr. Salas work with him at Xander McLean. We see him as our boss and a friend. We would have helped him anyway, but he makes sure we are all taken care of." "Aren't Susan and Dr. Mitchell involved?" Anna quickly wrote and handed him the notepad. "No, they were recommended. Alex made sure to find the best expert for your recovery. You're in very good hands." "Thank you for everything. I can't explain how much this means to me," she wrote. "You sound just like him when he asked us to help," Stephen said as he touched her hand. "Can I say something?" Anna nodded and smiled as she wiped her mouth. "I see what he sees in you, and I get why you feel the same about him. You both really fit well together. I can't wait to see you 2 together." Anna blushed, touched her heart, and nodded. "All right then," he said with a wave. "I'm going to head out. If you need anything, just click the button. Be good and go to your therapy. Bye," he added as he waved and walked out the door. Anna finished her meal, cleaned her tray, and put on her comfortable shoes to leave the room. She knew there was a cart just outside her room for her dishes, so she carried them out and placed them there before heading down the hall to see Susan. "Good morning," Susan greeted her happily. "How are you today?" Anna nodded. "Still not using your voice, huh? Let's see if we can get some sounds today, okay?" Anna smiled and sat down. They started with some breathing exercises. As they worked, Anna got more excited when she began to make some sounds. She waited eagerly for Susan to finish taking notes. She looked up and tilted her head. "Anna, what's something you'd like to say again?" Susan asked. "If we have a goal, you might try harder to reach it. Does that make sense?" Anna nodded and thought carefully about what she wanted to say. It wasn't just any word. It was a name she wanted to say for a long time. 3 things, more than anything, she wrote. "Alex, thank you, I love you." Susan smiled. "Now that's something we can work for. That's very motivating. Let's take you back to your room, and this afternoon we can start with sounds to help you reach your goal. Great job today." Anna nodded and followed her. A while later they heard a voice at the door. A young man walked in carrying flowers. "Anna?" he asked. Anna nodded and watched as he placed the flowers on the windowsill, took off his coat, and stood in front of her. "I'm Brian Urbana." Anna's eyes brightened. "Did Alex talk about me?" she asked with a nod, motioning for him to sit. "Before we go on, I want to say I'm really sorry about what happened last week," Brian said, shaking his head. "It's not like me to be part of a plan like that for anyone, especially my best friend. I think he trusted me with the idea, and that's why he approached you. I'm really glad he met you, but I feel bad for how it all came about." Anna powered up her laptop and opened a document to type her replies. She was excited to meet someone important to Alex, but felt a bit uneasy starting their conversation with an apology. Brian noticed she was ready to write and waited calmly for her. "I know it's strange that I was even in a bar, that Alex talked to me, and the situation with no voice 2 months before we met," he continued. "And then there was that convention that never took place. I am really happy that no matter how wild the original plan was, no one got hurt. There's no way to link it back to you, Eric, or Polly. Most importantly, I'm thankful that I got to meet your best friend and fell in love with him. Brian, I hold no hard feelings towards you. While I don't need an apology, I will accept it if it helps me spend time with someone very special in Alex's life. I know you wouldn't risk your friendship with him. Alex wouldn't keep you around if you weren't a great person. I hope I can make him as happy as you wish." Brian nodded and returned the laptop. "Thanks. It's really nice to meet you. I can't believe how everything happened. He told me he took you shopping and out to dinner before realizing the convention was canceled, but by that time, he was really interested in you. And that question you asked about why he came to you, it was clever. It made him feel like this was meant to be. That's what he said. It was part of a bigger plan." Anna opened her arms and smiled, inviting him for a hug. Brian stood up, leaned over and hugged her. "Thanks for that," he said as he sat down again. "I guess you might have some questions for me. I might think of a few too." Anna paused for a moment and started to write on the notepad. "What about Caroline?" Brian chuckled. "I wanted to talk to you first. She's having lunch with her family today." "Oh no, did you skip it to come see me? I'm so sorry." "No, I've met her family before, but sometimes other things come up. Honestly, I'm a bit tired of wondering if I'm good enough for her. She always says I am, but her parents sometimes look at me like I only want her for the wrong reasons. What they don't know is that Caroline was really forward with me before I even knew what to expect, and I actually have more money than they do." Anna smiled at his joke about Caroline, covering her mouth to hold in her laughter about the money. "I think this break was necessary, and my best friend's girl needed to meet me and hear from me. I want you to know I always cared about Alex's happiness." "It's strange," Anna typed into the Word document. "But if it hadn't been for that situation, I know Alex would never have approached me. Sometimes you have to make the best out of what you have." Because I asked a question later that day before we reached his place, he realized I wasn't what he had been told I was, even though he had figured it out soon after we got to the store. "Yeah, girls just looking for money wouldn't be checking for the best deals on dresses," Brian joked. "I hate that I was included in the gift we supposedly gave him, but I'm glad it turned out better than we hoped. We just wanted to find him a date. He found someone special, his true match." Brian and Anna talked and laughed, with Brian sometimes bringing up things Alex had said about her that he wanted to ask about. When she asked again if he'd bring Caroline, he promised he would later that day if that was okay. Anna nodded eagerly. "You know what? We haven't had Chinese food in a while. Would you like us to bring dinner? I think she's really going to enjoy meeting you. Getting to know each other over a meal sounds nice." Anna nodded and pointed to her phone. Brian opened it to make sure his number was saved there. It was. Alex had made sure to update everything while he was away. He pointed to his number. "I'll text you when we're on our way," Brian told her as he stood up to get his coat. "Text me your order before then. Alex made sure I had your number through your phone, so you'll see my message." Anna nodded again and got her phone ready for when he left. She was tired from her therapy session, so she planned to take a short nap before her next appointment later in the afternoon. "Take care, Anna," Brian said as he adjusted his scarf. "I'll be back with Care around 6 p.m., I think. It was really nice to meet you." Anna placed her hand on her heart, smiled, and nodded back. Brian smiled and left her alone. She turned on the TV, found some episodes of Friends, and laid her head back. The show was on a commercial when she turned it on. She didn't see any of the episodes before she fell asleep. Anna woke up around 2:30 p.m., yawned and stretched, then got up to use the restroom. When she returned to bed, she looked for Chinese food options. She hadn't thought to ask where they would be ordering from, so she decided to search for nearby places that had what she was craving. It had been a while since she enjoyed chop suey. She remembered Sarah's mom making it a few times when Anna visited for dinner. Anna texted Brian to request chop suey, white rice, and to remind him to get fortune cookies. She smiled as she pressed send. At 4 p.m., Anna headed for her second session with Susan. She sat down and began working on some breathing exercises even before Susan instructed her to start. They started practicing vowel sounds, and Anna felt happy that the more she used her voice, the easier it became to make sounds. It was as if her voice had been turned off, and now it was up to her to turn it back on. That evening, she managed to say 4 simple words, and it felt like she had reached for the stars. Unfortunately, it wore her out more than any other practice session had. "Knock, knock!" Brian called from outside, waking Anna from her surprise nap. She felt a bit out of sorts, so she quickly got out of bed and rushed to the bathroom. Splashing cold water on her face helped her breathe better and gather herself. After a minute, she was ready to face her new friends. If only she could speak well enough to apologize instead of needing to find her notepad to write. Taking a deep breath, Anna opened the bathroom door. She covered her face shyly as she stepped out and went straight for her notepad. "I'm so sorry. I fell asleep after my last session. I'm really embarrassed," she wrote. Anna handed the note to her friends and sat down on the bed. Caroline gasped and knelt to her level. "Anna, no! Oh my gosh! You have so much going on! Of course you're tired! Please don't feel embarrassed!" Anna uncovered her face and let Caroline hold her hands. "Now we have a funny story about how we first met," Caroline added. Anna squeezed her eyes shut for a moment before looking back at her friend, shaking her head and smiling. "Hi, Anna," Brian said, placing her food on the tray so she could sit comfortably with her legs crossed. Anna smiled at him and signaled for them to join her. "Oh, Anna, I'm so happy we're finally meeting," Caroline exclaimed as she opened her food container and mixed it with her fork. Anna hadn't meant to use chopsticks either. She opened her laptop to be ready to type answers for them. While one-syllable words were her new skill, she knew her thoughts wouldn't fit that easily. She worried she might get tired quickly. "Me too," Anna typed excitedly. "I feel like I have questions, but I'm not sure what they are. How about you tell me about yourselves? How did you meet? Where do you live? And what do you see for your future?" Brian and Caroline shared that they met in October at a charity event. They both grew up in Chicago. Brian was a lawyer, as Anna already knew. Caroline was 24 years old and had joined her family's interior design business. She still lived in her parents' big house while Brian had his own place. Recently, she had been spending more time at his place for some privacy. "We're already talking about moving in together," Brian said, reaching for Caroline's hand. Anna smiled at Caroline, who looked very happy. "I think the only thing holding us back is time, since we've only been together for 3 months." "Well, that and my parents," Caroline added. "They worry he has bad intentions in being with me. I've tried to tell them he's a good man who just wants to know me better and care for me, but they're so focused on money that they think he's after their business. He even offered to sign a prenup, but I don't want that if it comes to that." While Anna listened and ate her food, she started typing. She knew she didn't have much experience to offer advice, but she wanted to share her feelings from the heart. Caroline decided to read what Anna wrote aloud. "First, please know that I don't know much about money or relationships besides my own with Alex, and that's very new. Time shouldn't stop you from moving forward. I've always believed that when you know, you know. I felt a strong connection with Alex in just a weekend. I knew we both felt the same way when he said he loved me." "He told you he loved you," Brian exclaimed. "Did you?" "Brian," Caroline warned, then turned to Anna. "Sorry, I just thought maybe the guys talked more than they did. But he's never told anyone he loved them," Brian defended himself. "I had to ask." "Brian," Caroline said again, shaking her head. Brian shrugged. "Come on." Caroline looked at Anna and smiled apologetically. "I'm sorry. I'll keep reading. Alex asked me to move in with him. Last Monday night, he asked if we could call his bed ours and if I could make his home mine too, saying we shouldn't spend another night apart. We didn't even think about the plans that might be in the way, but still, time shouldn't stop you from being together. What does your heart say?" "I've been ready since Christmas," Brian said. "Me too," Caroline added quietly, reaching out to touch Brian's hand again. "I'm 24 and I don't have to live at home, but my parents worry about me living with a guy. They think I'm still very innocent. They can be a bit unrealistic sometimes." Caroline pulled her hand back and covered her face. "Let's see what else you shared," Caroline continued. "If there's one thing I've learned about relationships from movies and books, it's that parents often mean well, but can unintentionally ruin what could be something beautiful. A prenuptial agreement might seem untrustworthy at first, but I've heard too many stories about couples who seemed happy but ended up cold towards each other during a divorce. They often try to hurt each other in different ways. For someone like me, money is not a concern. I have none. I think Alex should have a prenup ready before asking me to marry him. But if money could become an issue, I believe this. If both sides can agree on it and it protects everyone involved, plus helps ease worries for our parents, then what's the problem with having one? If you truly plan to love and support each other, will a piece of paper really matter? You'll sign it, put it away, and focus on the wonderful relationship you want to build. What I've learned from my current living situation is to choose battles wisely. Anna waved for her friend to hand back the laptop. She smiled as she heard Brian and Caroline whispering. She also sensed what Brian wanted to know. It surprised her that Alex hadn't opened up about love, but she felt he was curious and deserved some answers. These two would become her friends, as they were also starting new relationships. She pointed to Brian and asked him to read it out loud. Brian, yes, I told him I loved him too. I've written it, I've whispered it. I can't wait to say it out loud. And yes, on Monday night we shared a special moment. Good job, Alex, Brian cheered. Finally. He laughed and shook his head. Finally, he said again. We were both new to this. It was beautiful and special, and it confirmed that we are meant to be together. I love him, Brian, with all my heart. I promise you, as his best friend, I will always care about his happiness and well-being. For someone who doesn't have much experience, you give great advice, Caroline said, reaching for Anna's hand. I appreciate your view. I think we will discuss these ideas and make smart choices. You're right. I know we aren't fully ready for marriage, but I want to be with him more than anything. Maybe it is best to stay calm, create a document, sign it, and treat it as just a formality. I believe that when I marry, it will be forever. Many people feel that way, Brian added. Both Caroline and Anna looked at him with disappointment. What? Anna even mentioned it. Plus, I'm a lawyer. Do you think I haven't seen my share of fairy tale stories turn into messy separations? If it wasn't for this one here, Brian said, pointing at Caroline, I might not believe in happy endings. You're right, Anna. A piece of paper should not make anyone feel bad unless that's the goal. We don't want to sign something just for show. We are thinking about it because we both have money, and our parents would feel better if we did. It wouldn't matter unless we ever needed it later. If we choose to see our marriage as forever, that's our choice, and that is how it will be. Anna nodded, placing a hand on her heart when she noticed Caroline looking at her. Caroline had tears in her eyes. Well, this has been a very productive visit, Caroline said, wiping her face. This man, I tell you, she said as she turned to Brian, took his face in her hands and gave him a quick kiss. Does Alex say things that make you feel weak in the knees? Anna smiled and nodded. When you know, Caroline said thoughtfully, reflecting on what Anna had said earlier. I like that. Then she turned to Brian. And I do, Brian Urbana. I love you so much. I think we should move in together. All right, Brian exclaimed as he stood up. Thanks, Anna, for your help with this. Who knew, right? He laughed as he started to gather empty containers. We're going to head out now. I'll come back to see you this week. Stay strong and keep up with your therapy. Soon you'll be chatting away and won't need to type everything you want to say. Before we go, honey, let me get her number so we can text each other, Caroline said. Anna lifted her phone and added her number quickly. Oh, got it, thanks. I'll be in touch. Brian and Caroline put on their coats and came over to hug Anna before leaving. Anna quickly wrote on her notepad as they walked out. Thanks so much for dinner, for this talk, and for being my new friends. You're both wonderful. I can't wait to get to know you more. Have a great night. Keep me updated on your moving plans. You got it, kid, Brian replied with a wink. See you later in the week, he reminded her, leading Caroline out the door. Anna finished her meal, picked up the remote, and turned on the TV. She opened her phone to update her app. Wednesday, January 27th. Surprisingly, we didn't do anything unusual all day. We were well behaved during meals and enjoyed watching the whole trilogy of Back to the Future. I loved sharing that time with Alex. I think I enjoy doing anything with him. That night we realized we hadn't done much all day. One look was enough to lead us into 2 lovely rounds of togetherness followed by a warm shower. Can every day for the rest of our lives be this nice? If it's up to me, Mr. McLean, I want to spend my life giving you everything I can. We'll make memories forever. If you thought spending a day together was great, just wait until you see what I have in mind for the future. Oh, how I miss you already. Be safe and come home to me soon. Thursday, January 28th. Well, today was terrible. I was taken against my will. I don't need to say more about how I feel. I could handle what they did to me. What hurt most was knowing how worried my Alex was. Not knowing if someone you love will be okay is something no one should have to face. I'm not sure what you're doing now, but I know you're safe with Dan. You asked me to trust you, and I do completely. I will see you soon. You promised. Friday, January 29th. I worried all day about why they didn't call for Alex again, especially since I didn't know if they were going to hurt him. They paid little attention to me, only to humiliate me with one visit to a bucket. When I heard the police arriving and taking the bad guys away, I felt so relieved. The emergency workers were incredibly kind. They knew who I was and what to do to help me, and the care they showed while helping me felt like your touch. Thank you for making sure I was safe. During one of the scariest moments of my life, I felt the love you would have given even from afar. I don't know why our paths crossed, but I believe it was meant to be. I will always be thankful. Oh, how I cherish you. Saturday, January 30th. I forgot to mention that after my rescue on Friday, I met 3 wonderful nurses and 2 doctors. We talked briefly about the situation. They are building the case, and I have a lot of healing ahead of me. I've been told you won't be back for a little while, but I saw that you sent me a message and some pictures. I love them. I had a very frustrating therapy appointment today. I couldn't hear anything. But then, 3 amazing women in my life came to visit. Savannah, Sarah, and Sam were treated to a limo ride to spend time with me. When I finally see you, Alex, I'm going to thank you over and over for the wonderful gifts you've given me. I hope you're resting a lot because when we are finally alone, I'm going to want to keep you busy. Yes, I'm blushing, but I mean it. We talked, laughed, and enjoyed the food that Dan ordered for us. They are all giggly about what has happened between us, and I think at least 2 of them have crushes on you for me. I had therapy in the afternoon, so Dan took the girls shopping for gifts for me. They came back with pizza, soda, and breadsticks. Finally, they all left, and I entered the details into this app from Friday to Tuesday. I miss you and love you, that's all. Sunday, January 31st, I had therapy in the morning. I met Brian soon after. He came to see me to apologize for his part in the situation, from the talk of an escort to the kidnapping. He felt very bad, but I assured him I knew in my heart that he had nothing to do with it. I forgave him to help him feel better, but I really meant it when I said there was no need. I knew that if Alex kept him around and thought he was a good person, then he was a good person to me too. He then promised to bring Caroline to meet me later in the day since her name was the only question I had when he opened the floor for my questions. It made him laugh, which I liked. I'm happy to have him around and will let Alex keep him too. Just kidding, Alex. I hope that made you smile. He offered to bring back dinner, so I texted him my order after he left. I had my second therapy session of the day, which really tired me out. I came back to my room and fell asleep without noticing. When Brian and Caroline came back at 6 p.m., his knock woke me up. I was embarrassed. Caroline came right up to me and assured me they completely understood why I was so tired. She begged me to let it just be a funny memory from our first meeting, and I liked her for that. She's really nice. We talked mostly about them, and I even gave some advice. I'm not sure if I'm qualified, but I spoke from the heart, and they seemed to appreciate it. I hope they are meant for each other. It really seems that way. One thing I told them was about prenuptial agreements. For most of my life, I thought those documents were just for the rich and famous. They are often discussed in the context of celebrities who get divorced. Part of me believed I would never marry someone with a lot of money, and I also don't have any money of my own, so I never considered it an option. When Brian and Caroline shared their situation, I understood why their parents think they should sign one. I believe Caroline's parents are just worried about her because there's so much talk about divorce and money. So I asked them, what if they did sign one, but just treated it like a way to calm their parents down? If they plan to make their marriage work when that time comes, they should focus on that. They should put that little document away now that it has helped their parents, and focus on bringing happiness and love into each other's lives every day. I think I've said most of what I wanted to. Anyway, I'm ready to read and sign whatever Alex wants me to. But I plan to spend my life making him happy and peaceful every day. I hope he always feels good about coming up to me in that bar. I certainly do. I'm so glad. Anna finally closed her phone, turned off her TV. Had it even been on? She was so focused on writing in her journal. She lay back on the bed and hugged her pillow tightly, wishing it was Alex. She really missed him. She was also very tired, and sleep took her away almost immediately. Monday passed quietly with little excitement. Her therapy sessions continued to bring positive results. Dan stopped by to check on her. Tuesday was similar good sessions and no visitors this time. Her period app was the only thing she typed on. She didn't do much writing either. The nurses mostly asked her yes or no questions. Wednesday evening, she felt frustrated because it seemed like she was living the same day over again. For 3 days, she woke up, had breakfast, took a shower, went to therapy, felt bored until the afternoon session, had dinner, and then waited for visitors or sleep. She opened her app and noted that she had already written down her feelings from the previous day. Looking at her calendar, she checked when her fertile days would end, just in case he surprised her. That's when a voice inside her head said, "Yeah, as if that will happen. He's gone. He's not coming back." Anna tossed her phone on the tray and leaned back, trying to scream into her hands. She was so frustrated. Where was he? Why couldn't she talk to him yet? What if he never came back? Just when she was about to feel really down, Brian walked in. Anna quickly started writing to him before he could even take off his coat. "Brian, why isn't he home yet? Did he change his mind? Am I just someone to feel sorry for? Does he not want to be with me anymore? Do you think—" Brian shook his head firmly. Anna's worry showed the stress she was under, which was very different from the calm she had shown just 3 days ago. "No, Anna, that's not it," Brian assured her. Anna crossed her arms and still looked upset. "He asked you to trust him. Please do that. Don't give up on him. I know it's hard, but when he's back, he'll stay with you for a long time." Anna lifted her shoulders and crossed her arms, seeming to ask, "How do you know?" She looked frustrated. "Because he told me," Brian replied loudly. Anna stared at him in surprise and slowly uncrossed her arms. She knew Alex had been talking to Dan to help him understand her healing, but she didn't realize he had spoken to Brian too. Brian sighed and sat in the chair near her. "I called him on Monday to see how he was doing. He answered and we chatted. He told me about the weekend you two shared, about the special time you had together, and that he loves you. I didn't mention that you had already told me. I let him share what he wanted. He really cares about you, Anna. Please don't lose hope. This time apart is for a good reason." Anna's eyes teared up when Brian spoke, especially when he said Alex cared deeply for her. She missed him so much. She had many questions but couldn't find the words. All she truly wanted was to be held by Alex. The next best thing was when Brian stood up, sat on the bed, and wrapped her in a comforting hug. "Hang in there for my friend, okay? I know this is hard. I won't pretend I know everything about what he's doing, but that's for him to share. It's all good, right?" Anna sniffed and nodded against him. "I'll be honest, he hasn't said when he'll be back. He hates that you're having a tough time, but he believes he might distract you from healing if he's around. Just like with the rescue, he wanted to help you, but he knew staying away was what you needed." Anna pulled back slightly and nodded again. She managed a faint smile and wiped her eyes. "Let's make this a little secret," she said softly, laughing a bit when Brian jumped at her voice. "Anna," Brian said teasingly, "can you—" Anna quickly shook her head. "Just a little then? How hard was it to say those—" He paused and counted on his fingers. 6 words out loud?" Anna nodded wide-eyed, which made Brian laugh. He pulled her close again and kissed her head. "That's wonderful," he said happily. "I knew you would be able to talk again, but it surprised me to hear it. I got used to you writing everything." "So, secret?" Anna asked slowly. "Yeah, I owe you that," Brian admitted as he let her go. "You had your moment of doubt, and I tried to reassure you, which I'll happily keep from my girlfriend. Honestly, she would want me to do that. You talking caught me off guard." "There's a lot we can keep between us," Anna said with a sigh as she leaned back. She had only ever spoken out loud to Susan. Brian left after giving her a friendly high five. He said their hugs were close enough for that day. Anna nodded to show she understood. He said goodbye but kept quiet about when they would meet again. Maybe he didn't know. It didn't matter. She liked having him and Care around as well as Dan. Before she could relax, thoughts of ongoing cases against those who tried to take money from Alex filled her mind. How far people would go for money, she thought, shaking her head. She recalled the 2 men who had taken her. Money was their reason, but their bad behavior? They would pay for that. The man who had picked up the suitcase would likely get a light punishment. If he was involved in the plan, though, he would be gone for a while. Terry and Fish had helped plan a lot of it, so Anna was sure they would be facing serious consequences. But it was her aunt, uncle, and brother who worried her the most. They were family, but they had used her and let her get taken. She knew they would be away for some time, so she needed to figure out what would happen to the house. Her cousins had left long ago to get away from their parents because of their bad behavior. To make sure she got her own things from the house, she would ask Alex if he could take her there. Then they could pack up anything useful to keep safe for when their time was served. She would arrange for a storage locker to hold their things during that time. While it wasn't fair how they treated her, she had to admit they provided her with a roof over her head and food, even if she had to help with that because of their poor choices with money. Yes, she would make sure their stuff was kept safe. As for Javi, Anna hadn't fully accepted that he was involved in everything. She knew he was, but she didn't want to think about how much he knew, especially about the rough treatment she had faced. She hoped he could find some peace while serving his time. Feeling tired from all the anger she had held onto before Brian's visit, Anna began to relax and drift off to sleep. Just as she was about to doze off, her phone beeped. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Infidelity Plus to stay updated with more captivating tales of infidelity and payback. Turn on notifications so you're the first to see our latest content.